Is anybody cool streaming? So many streams and nothing to watch. Garbage. This could be fun.
Hello and welcome back.
You have your glasses on.
I do. I need them today because I'm sorry if the thumbnail says something different, but it might be a different episode today, being April 1st and all. And before I'm gonna bring these bad boys back out because we went back and we watched DBZA episode 1, which was back in 2009, 2008. Let's go back another year, shall we? To when you and I were just getting started on YouTube.
That's right. Today we're going to be watching our original abridged first episodes.
Yu Yu Hakusho Abridged. Back in 2007, I was recently injured from rugby. Like, my back was all sorts of messed up. I couldn't do anything that I wanted to do. I was actually in a pretty dark place in my life, and that's when I found Martin's show. I've told him this story. I made him cry. Martin literally saved my life.
Oh, you made Martin cry. Yeah. That's so difficult to do.
Well, I've done it emotionally and physically now, so it's, but yeah, I found Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, and I was sitting there thinking, like, you know what, I can't do any of the physical stuff that I want to do. I couldn't do theater, and I loved theater in high school. I couldn't do sports because I just injured myself in a sport. So, when I found Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, and then I found Naruto Abridged, I was given kind of like this little, oh wow, I like this stuff. Wait, there are more shows, more people are doing this kind of thing? I can do that. I have Yu Yu Hakusho DVDs. I can rip them onto my computer and use this horrible editing software, which I'm sure I'll talk at length about throughout showing this off. And I just kind of cracked it out one night, and for some reason people liked it, and it's what led me to meeting you and Taka and everybody. And you. Right there. I see you, John. That's gonna freak anybody who's named John out, maybe. If you're really high, like, let me know. Anyway.
Yeah, in the comments. Tell us if you're high watching this.
Especially if you're John.
Yeah. And you know what? Anybody who ever gets high to watch these, tell us. I really want to know if your favorite way to experience us is inebriated.
So yeah, do we just want to get into
Yeah,
this, and then we'll talk about your story afterwards? Because oh my god,
I think that's the best way to go about it.
It's best to start on the low note because I do not have your editing prowess. What kind of gave me anything is the fact that I could do a decent Yusuke impression, and my Kuwabara was good enough with the microphone that I had.
It was sort of funny because I remember that you talked about, like, when you started this, people thought that your Yusuke was really good, and you...
Okay, I think it's ready. I think I'm ready to murder a plant. Drink. Drink. Drink.
Drink.
And drink. Put these away, grab more lobsters, and let's murder a plant. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. I don't think I did. Got my darts. Alright, I need to... Oops. Okay. I need to put on Pray from Magic. Frick. It's not going good so far. Okay, that's good. Get him. Get the flowers. Hit him! That's a good hit. Oh, nice hits. Juicy ones, Exile. Oh, he's toast, baby! New PB! Alright, Hespori, you have one job, and that job is to either give me your unique or give me a Quorum Seed, because the lady asked me to plant a Quorum Seed, and I don't want to ask her to give me a different job. So that would be what a coward would do.
You will get neither.
It's possible. I got, 18 White Lily Seeds. Okay, that's kind of nice, actually. It's not what I wanted, but a White Lily Seed. I think White Lilies make all allotments immortal. And, yeah, it protects all neighboring allotments from diseases. And there is... I think there is a, hold on, I'm trying to find it. There's an achievement to plant a White Lily somewhere.
Alright, but
now
how
I can't
many
find it.
connoisseurs ornate doors do you have?
What? What?
Connoisseurs ornate doors, how many?
None?
Well, you're casual then. Just find Alphino and talk to him. That's how you get
Oh,
them.
I see. Am I high?
Yes.
Now I can't find any White Lilies. I mean, I think the actual answer is to plant. You should plant White Lilies in every farming patch outside of this one, because this one they could tell you to plant something else. But everywhere else, it's literally free real estate. It means nothing can ever become diseased again in your allotment patches, which isn't the most important, but it's better than leaving the allotment patches empty.
Does that allow you to protect your herbs, or are herbs
No.
unprotectable? Okay.
Unpredictable. Allotments only. So my watermelons, my snoopgrass.
I think I know the difference between your allotments and where you grow your snoopgrass.
Yes. You should.
That would require me to play the game.
Well, you could.
No.
Oh. I could have sworn like Varrock had a lily requirement or something.
Quality increased by 16,980.
Nice. Unless it's not Varrock. Dude, I swear. I swear on me, mum. Lumbridge, perhaps? Lumbridge?
You're a Lumbridge.
Not Lumbridge. I dreamed it. Weird.
Source it came to me in a dream.
Very weird. Yeah, Fremennik doesn't even have any or any elements. Alright, source my butt. Oh, white lilies are still good. I will say that for real and for true. Despite my directions. Seymour, the house is on fire.
No, it's just the Northern Lights.
Okay. Alright, freeing King Awogwe. Hello? No, I don't want to open notes. I want to open the quest helper. Because I need help with this quest. Don't you understand? Zombie Gree. I guess I need to... Oh yeah, and I need to ask this lady for an easier thing.
No, you need to go get your seeds.
Do you have anything easier? Yes, please. Yes, Mom. Grow a maple tree. That's annoying. It is easier though. I mean, I have a maple seed, I'm sure. Mapel. Mapel. Alright, well, I guess I plant a maple tree. Need a basket of oranges. Well, that actually works out, because I need to go to the Grand Tree anyway and buy the oranges on the way there. Oh, this is... Oh, yeah. It's all
Take
happening.
this door and throw it on the ground.
Why are you throwing a door on the ground? That doesn't even make sense.
Because it was not a high enough quality door.
You were really more confident. Confident.
I
about
was
your-
very confident in my Kuwabara.
Yeah.
Like,
Another
hey,
route.
you're a Messi, you son of a bitch! Because I fucking love that goofy ass voice that Sabbath did. But then when I just started going for it for Yusuke, I'm like, he just kind of talks like this, I guess. And then they're like, oh my god, is that Justin Cook? I'm like, what?
It's really funny when it happens like that, isn't it?
It is, because I mean, obviously I can't hear it. The funny thing is, like, I was so unconfident in my Yusuke, I was like, at one point I was like, asking my younger brother, hey, would you want to play this for me maybe? Like, I don't know, like, you know, try to involve my family, but then I just got bored late one night and just did the whole damn thing myself, because that's kind of how it happens.
Well, let's get this party started.
Kicking it off with the D. With karate, I kick your ass. Here to Tiananmen Square. Oh yeah, motherfucker, I'm gonna kick your fucking dairy, yeah. You broke the rules, now pull out all your pubic hair. Motherfucker. Motherfucker. I chose that song because, one, it's Tenacious D. I love Jack Black. I love Tenacious D. It's
What?
another thing that I feel like I can do a decent cover on.
You're a Jack Black fan?
I might be. I might be. May or may not be.
Also, the song just really fits your
It
show.
does, though, doesn't it? Like, I was thinking, like, what songs do I have that would really work for this? Because I didn't just want to use Smile Bomb, despite the fact that, you know, that's, you know, appropriate. I'm just like, karate. Karate by Tenacious D. Let's go. We're making a comedy.
You know,
And this is my first attempt at doing anything. I'm using a program called Pinnacle Studio back in 2007.
Pinnacle!
It's not great. And just to start you off, it has 2 audio lines. 2. One for like and one is specifically for press this button and record voiceover. So you're going to hear a lot of mouse clicks. And one that is just for this is your background music. Only I used it just for the general show audio because I did not know a goddamn thing about sound editing.
Also, I want to, like, since we're going back to one of the OG Abridged series, it was always really funny to me who decided who they wanted to use the original opening and who wanted to, like, use some kind of pop culture song. Which, funny enough, like, moving forward on a lot of Abridged projects that I worked on,
Oh, zombies cannot
I actually
run.
made openings for people.
Yes, you
Mistake
actually made the
detected.
second opening I used for this show.
Yeah, which used Asterisk from Bleach.
Which I
because-
thought was ironic because Bleach is totally like a Yu ripoff in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It homages.
In homage.
But
It references, like I referenced very early on.
yeah, but here you're one of the people who decided that they wanted to use a pre-established but different song, and I think I just think it's neat. I don't think it really says one thing or another about the quality of the show, but I do think it does imply a little bit about how people approached them.
Yeah. I assure you, not a whole lot of thought went into much of anything. Do you want to know what my scripting process was for this show?
You watched the footage and then you came up with a joke on the fly, recorded it, and then put it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Immediately. That is exactly what happens. So let's start here. At my most cringeworthy.
I love not affecting the plot. Innocent bystanders, FTW. What the hell? Oh my god! Oh no! Dear god! Oh crap!
Click. Click.
Hey, you, hurry! Go get some help!
Don't tell me what to
Did
do.
I use the same
Buddy
voice when
looks
I did
hurt.
Who give?
You might have, because I know at one point you decided to do a Yu Yu Hakusho.
for April Fool's Day?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I did the same voice for this.
He has a very Muppet face voice. Or also, I got to scroll back. I was screaming at the innocent bystanders FTW bit, but I think it's here.
FTW in America. What the hell?
You forgot about that, didn't you? I never have. That's one of those moments of cringe that keeps me up at night.
I want you to know that my memory is my memory has more holes in it than a Swiss cheese factory full of a lesbian mouse orgy. So when it comes to remembering these old jokes, a lot of them.
Joke. Yes, jokes.
Attempts at jokes.
Yeah.
All this is gonna feel brand new to me, and yet oddly familiar.
Yes, that is very much just me. Like, I love Martin. Like, I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series. I loved Little Karibo. I wanted to throw, like, something in there. Just to, like, to me, it was, like, both a shout-out and just, like, a wink to the audience. And, continuing.
Oh my god! Oh no! Dear god!
Dear God!
Oh crap!
Hey, you, hurry! Go get some help!
Don't tell me what to do.
Buddy looks hurt!
Who gives a crap? Screw you! I'm out.
Obviously, I knew
Oh,
jack
man.
shit about lip
That's the
syncing,
last
but I
time
knew
I
how to
was
loop a
sorry.
nod.
What the hell? And so we meet Yusuke Urameshi, the hero of this story. But oddly enough, he's dead. Where the hell is that voice
Click.
coming from?
Click.
Why am I flying?
Yep.
Man, that's the last time I accept Kool-Aid from my art teacher. Shut up! I'm trying to talk here. No, you shut up! I'm on.
Shot from, I think, episode 2 or 3. I would use this a lot whenever I wanted Yusuke to talk, because it was one of the only spots I found him with just mouth moving. It's him walking down the street angrily. But hey, you know what? He's bobbing in the sky. He's flying right now.
Yeah, no, that's what
Okay.
it is. He's not walking, he's bobbing.
He's floating. He's floating right now in the sky. Dear God, there's 5 more minutes of this.
That's a trip of my life, and your stupid talking isn't helping. Well, if you really want to freak out, then look down. What the hell are you talking about? It's just a guy. Holy crap!
I can't believe
Oh, come on!
I can't believe you got your old Piccolo voice to do the narration for this.
My old Piccolo voice. Yeah, this is my pre-old Piccolo voice, just like Koenma is my pre-old Krillin.
Yeah. It's really interesting to track how a lot of your voices evolved since the beginning.
I did not have the range I do now.
Surprised to be dead? Of course I'm surprised to be dead. No wonder Cartoon Network dropped this show with titles like that. I mean, look at it.
It would eventually come back, but like at a 4 a.m. block or some weird shit like that.
I think it literally came back on Toonami.
It did, but only on Saturdays and only at like the 2 or 3 a.m. block.
But it was
fucking weird.
But it still had the Toonami censors,
Alright,
which
mate.
made no
Mum-
sense.
Mumpkin
You
speak.
shut up and get on with the plot. I have stuff to do. Fine.
I'm really
Alright,
happy with the
people,
times
out
I
of the
don't
way.
hear the click.
Trained extras coming through.
Trained extras.
See here. He's dead. Next. Don't worry, sir. This one's fine.
I bent my Wookiee.
Ralph Wiggum.
Oh well. My job's done then.
Huh.
Well, tag him and back.
Monkeys, that's a fake. Get him.
All right. Booze.
Hey, wait up. Hey,
Monkeys,
give me
there's
back
a
my
fake
body.
in your
I need
presence.
that to beat people up like
I'm
other
not even
positive role
on the
models.
Monkey Island
Hey!
anymore. I'm just giving the final monk back to the monk. Ooh, geek. Geek.
Fake monkey, destroy him.
Why does Talon want me destroyed?
German monkeys gank this man. Lava gank this monkey.
What?
I'm commanding the lava rise up and deal with you.
What lava?
What the heck is that orange stuff if it's not lava?
Are you 20 years back?
I might be. YouTube's having trouble staying caught up for some reason.
No, you are having trouble staying caught up. Sad to say.
No, it is the YouTube who is wrong.
Curious. Alright, it's time for me to face the Jauntlet. And by face the Jauntlet, I mean probably fight one at a time. Why it is so windy outside?
Because the wind has come.
I wish it hadn't come. Bleh. First, actually, let's teleport and heal.
Oh God, with the flying. That tickle. All right. Well, while I'm up here, I may as well.
Ooh, that reverb.
Thought my character makes sense of future events.
Okay,
I'm
but
breaking
okay.
the fourth
No.
wall too much.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah. Welcome to early bridging. Fourth wall breaking is all everyone
The
did.
fourth wall doesn't exist.
Break
here.
the fourth wall, reference Adult Swim / other adult animated comedies of the time, and every 80s
The
movie
clown
ever
just
made.
walked into the bank.
But honestly, to your credit, I'm surprised you even knew how to do the reverb at all.
It was one of the preset features on the voiceover tab.
Bam, there you
Yeah,
go.
it was just like cave. Cave sounds right. I'll go with.
Alright. Oh, I don't get any prayers. Oh, well, that's cringe.
Prayers are canceled.
Apparently. Get him. No, wrong me. Dude, hit this man and have him stop hitting you. He healed way too much. I don't think we're gonna be able to kill him. We just need like 3 more good hits. Okay, that's a really good hit. 2 more. Okay, that's a good one. Got him. Beat to crush, huh? Alright, let's get my dragon mace and use that instead. Oh, we need to grab potions. Need my ice gloves. Dude, crush this man. Dude, unloading the specs into him. Get specced upon. Gigas. You know what they say, what I'm doing to this guy is absolutely brutal.
More?
More. Dude, this guy's getting absolutely destroyed.
Nice
That's
mace, by the
unbelievable.
way.
Yeah, thank you. I got it from my Heart Clue School. He dropped 1,000,000 cakes! I'm the Joker.
You do not have any space for those cakes.
I have enough. Get me out of here.
Okay, I'm 8 years behind again because he was not even near dead when you said that.
I mean, It's not my fault that you're so far behind.
I believe it is YouTube's fault.
It's your fault.
Don't think it works that way.
Alright, fire spells. For Caramel. That's a good name. Do I have any death runes? 50. But I'm not going to use them for the first guy, I guess. Okay, we don't need these. We need our mage gear. Oh yeah, we should go get the J-House Gauntlets. Alright, yeah, we'll go get our J-House Gauntlets. From Jacques. Already have that. Let's grab our J-House runes. Alright. Oops. Where the frick am I going? Oh wait, he's up here. Wait, is this the Joldsmith Gauntlets try? Where's the other guy? Is he in Varrock? Might be in Varrock. Oh yeah, I think I know where he is.
Cave.
Honestly, it doesn't sound that bad compared to, like, other things.
Look, let's be honest. Early abridging, there was two camps. Like, there was the divide. There were the people that could get it onto their computer and edit something. Anything at all. I referenced this. There are people that could edit something, and then there are people that held their cameras up to their television.
Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah. Do you want to know the funniest one I ever saw? It was somebody who also did a Yu Yu Hakusho Abridged, who was holding their camera up, and they were just like recording over it live, but they had cuts and edits in it, and I was really shocked about it. I'm like, wow, this is a weird way of going about that. And then about a minute and a half in, I recognized the fact that a lot of these cuts and edits were mine.
Yep.
So somebody had muted my audio, held a camera up to their computer screen, and just decided to live dub over my edits. I laughed very hard, and it was clear that this person was very young.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
like, I'm not like saying like, "Ah, stupid kid," but it's like, oh my god, It's funny.
It reminds me a lot about back in the day when anime music videos were a huge thing, which they've been making a neat comeback lately.
Yeah.
When people didn't know how to get a hold of the footage, like a lot of other folks did, some people just knew how to rip VHSs and then DVDs. But some people were like, okay, I don't know how to get this footage, so I'm just going to take their music videos and re-edit them.
Yep.
It was another blurry day at school.
I do like that. The vignetting. I'm like, it's blurry.
What's up, Keiko?
Yusuke, as the
Girl
angry
voice,
and
girl
supportive
voice.
girlfriend character,
Girl
I think you
voice.
should be in class right now.
Uh-huh.
How dare you itch your ass while you talk to me?
I'm sorry, did I forget about yours?
Okay, all right.
Yusuke, you pervert!
It was worth it. Giggity.
Family Guy!
Really stole that guy's Pokemon cards? Yeah,
Click.
and I just had to tell him I was that retard Urameshi's cousin.
Boom! Hard R
I
drop!
love how we can joke around without repercussion.
Not what hard R means.
Really? Oh,
No.
yeah, I guess not.
No.
What? You're not my cousin, she's way hotter than you. Ew, that's just wrong.
Yes,
Here,
I
let me
gotcha.
get the Pokemon cards, just don't beat me up. Pokemon? This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Town Mother. You're a Meshi, you're suspended. Now excuse me while I go drink some more sand.
Okay, first of all, the drink some more sand is that's good.
Yeah. There's certain things that I'm like, I'll stick by that.
I don't know.
Let's see. Harlander. $58 Herblore. Wow. Actually, instead of using this shield, I should use the anti-dragon fire shield. Alright, let's have a go.
I don't know why, but this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Town Motherfucker was one of my favorite lines from you for a good while.
I don't know. I just...
There is some novelty to this. Back in
There
the
is.
day when nobody knew how to do a lot of this stuff before
You're really flying by the seat of your pants because there is no formula.
yeah, and before the fucking arms race of people learning how to edit, record better, act better,
Yeah,
etc.
asshole.
I'm not taking credit for shit, but I have had people get mad at me for
No,
escalating
you
stuff.
started the editing arms race, I think.
No, that was definitely Masako.
Masako was doing some really cool shit in Naruto Bridge. Like he was throwing in like Photoshop pings and like, oh man, how does he do that? He's a wizard.
Yeah. When he finally pulled off that fucking Guitar Hero like joke in one of the Naruto Abridged episodes, I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's fucking go.
Funny
But
enough- oh, go ahead.
oh, I just want to but like back before all of that, this stuff, just the simple idea of these characters saying different things was so neat and funny and revolutionary for. It's so weird, right?
Yeah.
Because this is, I'm not going to say objectively bad, but it's definitely like that old like everything's rough. Everything is like just taking
It's
from
okay,
other
you can
things.
hurt my feelings.
Oh please, we're about to do Lupin, and I'm going to die the entire time. Hell, we could even
It'll be interesting because I actually haven't seen your episode 1 in forever because it keeps getting scrubbed from the internet.
Oh yeah, no, the fact that it was on archive. Yeah. Oh my God, it is archived online. And we were just, I was noting before we started this, TMS is super litigious with this stuff, so we're gonna have to we might
Figure
have
that
to,
out.
yeah.
We'll see if Lupin is in this.
But no, it's just really cool to go back to this old stuff and just kind of see and remember how we felt during that time, where we were like, this is funny as hell and we're loving it.
Dude, I'm
and
not
now,
getting touched by
20
this
years later,
enemy.
things are very different.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, speaking of Moscow, he was actually the first person in the abridged community that I ever spoke to. I sent him a message. And dude's always been one of the kindest, most genuine people.
Yeah.
You reach out to him, and if he has the time, he'll reach back. I actually reached out, and I'm like, hey man, I love what you guys are able to do. What do you use to edit and stuff like that? And he messaged me back and told me every single tool he uses, and I'm like, I have to pay for some of this. So I'm just gonna stick with this thing that my dad had on his hand-me-down computer. So I'm just gonna.
Oh, you sweet summer, autumn, and winter child. You paid for those programs?
Adobe eventually I will.
I mean, eventually I would as well, largely just because my husband was like, we are not having pirated software on our new computers.
But Pinnacle I had just because it was a hand-me-down from my dad, and I just was lucky enough to have it on that computer. I don't think he ever used it, I'll be honest. But I did.
Sweet, I'm out of here. Okay.
Alright, we defeated Caramel. Now it's time for Desort. Oh my gosh, she's cool. I wish I was Desort. Alright, let's go ahead and give him the Ivan Blast. Everyone loves the Ivan Blast. It's like a Baja Blast, but with extra Ivans. Guessing we won't need more than 50 spells, but... Oh, I can't cast Ivan Blast because I need to use Restore Potion. My stats.
So you can't cast Ivan Blast?
Yep. Ivan Unblast. Sad. Got our lobsters, got our backup in case we run out of blasts. But anyway, I started blast. I'm worried about Gelatinoth. The Gelatinoth mother. Alright. Dude, this guy is squishy AF. Oh, he hurts though. He hurts me. But squishy AF though.
Eat your lobsters, Apollo.
Oh, I am. But him? That man? Come on, get a good hit so he dies. So I look cool. That man is dead! Alright, it's time for
You
the
will
jump.
never look cool.
Whew. Now it's time for our true enemy. The Gelatinoth Mother.
What?
You heard me, the Gelatinoth Mother. The Gelatinoth Mother!
You what, mate?
She's made of gelatin. Alright, I think we need to switch up our armor a little bit here. Not too much though. We need our rune stuff. Because we're going with a combo. The old combo. Wait, can I use the Black D'hide body? No, you need ranged 70. Cringe. Let's see, we'll wear Ava's accumulator on our back. We'll wear the Natus Knot hat, I think. Not wear mage boots. Wear our sturdiest boots. Where are they? Where are our steel boots? Alright, I don't know how this is gonna go at all. We'll try with lobsters first, I guess. Let's take a sippy of a potion first. That's potion. Alright, well, let's see. Let's see how much of a train wreck this is. We're not risking much of anything, so. And we can teleport out if we need to. just hit me from here. Okay. Nice. Come on, switch to wind bolt. Water bolt. Alright, finish him off before he switches to melee. Quick, get some hits! Oh, that's a good one. 2 more good hits. In water form, please. Oh, that's a Jojo juicy one! Dead. Thanks for the rub-a-dub-dub. Thanks for my arrows back. See ya. Gotta switch gear. Alright, final boss time. Well, that boss was way easier than I was expecting. I think my armor choice was just really really good somehow. I just kind of made something up and it worked. It's pretty cool. All right.
This guy's making it up as he goes along.
Pretty much. All right. Now we need to figure out what our next is final boss, but I think we just use our strongest. We use our strongest. Our strongest potions. Which means the dragon Simi comes back, makes a glorious, triumphant return. The Amulet of G. The Joldsmith Gauntlets. The Pants. And the Climbing Booties. Okay, that all looks good. We need to pot up. And grab some food, and we'll see how it goes. And if it doesn't go well, then we run away. It's simply easy. Oh, he only has 150 HP. Okay. This guy's gonna get shredded, actually. It might be really easy.
It's going down you.
It might, I mean, anything's possible. Drink. 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 Okay. Okay, he did just hit a 23, which isn't great. Oof. This is a battle of glass cannons, it seems like, because he has super low defense. I'm hitting every single time I touch this man. Okay, can I roll slightly better, please? Oh, he's already below 50 HP. Get crushed, my guy. one more good hit. Dead! Oh my gosh, his head's exploding. The frick? Oh, why is he bursting? I burst into food!
Congratulations.
It's time to go get our reward. People in chat, we're pogging. He gives a message. The clan stuff gives a message when you like somebody completes a quest. So when they saw a recipe for disaster, pogged.
Congrats on your pog.
But more importantly, buy items chest. Barrows gloves. Boom! The juicy gloves. They literally are freaking insanely good. They give 1,000,000,000 attack bonuses, magic bonuses, strength bonuses. They're just good. What are next?
What are next?
I don't know. I've been working on that one for so long. Indirectly or directly. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, I think what are next will actually be doing the doing my next Slayer task. I need to do a few of those. I'm falling. I haven't done Slayer in like a long time, so I'm falling behind. It's not exactly
This guy's
how it
falling
works.
behind.
It's not exactly how it works, but
This guy's falling behind.
yeah, that's
I
true.
bet you aren't leveling your sailing either.
You caught me. I'll win my sailing.
Level sailing right now.
No.
Do it.
Okay. If I die in the wilderness, what do I keep with this outcome?
If you die in the wilderness, you die in real life.
Oh no. Alright, let's grab an attack potion and a strength potion and frickin' go kill some spodes. I don't know how you feel about spodes, but I would like to kill some.
I feel spode.
What do I need for Song of the Elves? 70 agility. 70 agility! No! 70 construction, fun. 70 farming, basically there. 70 herb lore, relatively close. 70 hunter. Gosh, I need to start my hunter thingies again. Okay. 70 mining. That won't
Hunt
be
the
bad.
Jubbly birds.
70 smithing. Yeah, okay.
Hunt Jubbly birds right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's some easy quests I could still knock out for sure. Wait, I gotta be in the wilderness. Alright, it's time for me to kill some Spode. These deadly red spiders, we'll see how deadly they are when I kill them in freaking 2 hits. Okay, well I did not kill him in 2 hits. Looks like no Slayer XP. That's fine. Slayer XP is overrated, personally. Me personally, I prefer the Slayer.
Oh yeah, I love this Slayer.
Look, okay, somebody could, in theory, try to PvP me here, and I would simply run 3 feet south and out the wilderness door. Also, they have to be between the combat levels of 73 and 81. No more, no less.
Oh yeah, I keep all levels for ganking.
I mean, that would actually be unsurprising.
It is the best way to farm noobs, yeah.
Probably true. Oof. My max hit is a 20, baby. I'm strong.
You're a Meshi, let's fight.
And your best character!
Night off. I'm not Vegeta, you asshole. I'm Kuwabara and you know it.
Voice actor in joke!
Same results. Let's hit some badass music.
Copyright claims!
Badass music? I'm not getting my ass
Need
kicked to
the
this.
most.
I beg to differ.
I was just going with whatever I had on my computer at the time. I'm like, what's the dumbest thing that he could get beaten up to? This works.
Mine would have probably been Alanis Morissette.
Maybe.
I kick ass.
Yeah, you do, Yusuke.
Go play in traffic. Okay.
Done.
The street. Mister, can I have my ball back? You're stupid. You can't be playing with a ball near traffic. I mean, dear God, you can be hit by a car, and then your face will end up looking like this.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. My uncle did the exact same thing.
I used a sound effect! I had a sound effect!
Fine, but one more time and it's mine. You got it, kid?
Really glad I have these on right now.
Yeah. That's it, ball's mine!
I love little Karibo.
Give me that
Another
ball,
shout out to him.
And he
When I say the dude legitimately saved my life, I mean it.
Remember the
Here I am.
Do you remember Animosity?
I do.
dead as a doornail.
Bingo!
Who the hell are you?
Monty Python voice! Botan, pilot of the River Styx, at your service.
Is it different from Girl Voice?
Girl voice is like this. Monty Python
Nope.
voice is like this.
You know what? You know what? I hear it. I hate it, but I hear it.
Yeah, I mean, it's what the men did on Monty Python when they wanted to sound like a woman.
You know, you can really tell how far you've come because that still sounds significantly more refined.
I know.
why are you here?
I'm here to give you a second chance at life.
And I'd want this. Why?
Because people need you. Just go to your wake and see.
Wait. I died less than an hour ago. How did they plan my wake so fast?
Real
They
questions.
posted your death on YouTube.
Yeah, that'd do it.
YouTube was still young back then too.
Yeah.
Ah, more copyright music.
Oh yay.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
They're partying.
Thank God he's gone. High five. Man, somebody better be upset.
How has this never gotten a copyright claim on my channel?
Follow my orders like
Probably because it's just so old.
I don't know.
That's one.
You're a machine! You better come back to life or I'll kill you! You and your stupid glamour shot photo! Please!
That who took that image?
I don't know. Funny enough, like back when I was first getting to know Vegeta 3986, he said he loved my episode 1, so I that's where he and I became friends.
Oh.
And he was like, it was that glamour shot photo line that like really got me, because it's like, yeah, where did they get that shot of Yusuke?
It's a good shot too.
Yeah, it's like, it's clearly candid, because like, huh?
Yep. His mom must have been like, haha, hey, Yusuke, click.
Hey, idiot.
Yep.
Click. Ha! Got your soul. I played Atsuko as such a bitch.
I mean,
she is, but
Haven't had a chance to beat up the corpse yet! I'm not gay!
he's not gay.
Without the welfare he provided me.
Well, hell of a party, isn't it?
I'm surprised I had the wherewithal to fade the music. It's in the background now.
Yeah.
It's liminal.
Not quite what I expected.
So what's the plan then?
Well, I can only get back at those bastards for celebrating my death if I'm alive, so, let's do it.
All right then, hang on.
Good enough reason as any.
To infinity and beyond.
You crazy ore-riding bitch! And so Yusuke rides off. But what adventures await him? Find out next time on Yu Yu Hakusho, The Bridge.
Hakusho. This might be kind. Gather round, ye lads and lasses, set ye for a while, and hearken to me mournful tale about the Emerald Isle. Let's all raise our glasses high to friends and family gone, and drink our voices in another Irish drinking song. Consumption took me mother and me father got the pox. Me mother drank the whiskey, Eldridge wound up in a box. Me other brother in the shadows left at his demise. Me sister has forever closed her smiling Irish eyes.
yep.
Yu Yu Hakusho Bridge episode 1. I would go on to almost weekly make episodes for a while until they slipped into like a bi-weekly. Then I got into college and they'd become more monthly. And I feel like I peaked with the movie. Which kind of like, and by then we were working together. The movie was the last thing I released before DBZA came out.
I think the last thing you put out from the Yu Yu Hakusho was Rescue Yukino.
Yes, and that was after we had already started DBZA.
Yeah.
That was like the last thing I ever made on my own, and then time.
Yep, and then time.
Time happens. I made Yukino racist, and time happened. Oh my god. Yeah, that's my origin story. I am here now.
Yeah, I have no idea even what to say because I'm just reminded of all I'm flooded by feelings and memories. I'm back in 2006/7 and it's weird.
Yeah, because later on, I think it would be like the upcoming fall or upcoming winter is when I would meet you online through Taka.
Yeah.
Because Taka had done a G Gundam abridged between then and when you started.
Yeah.
Which I remember always just being amused by the pacing and the humor of that one.
Yeah, I used to make anime music videos. They were always bad. They were like always bad.
Don't listen to them.
No, well, they were. I mean, I made good ones later, but the ones that I was making at the time were not good. but I knew how to use Adobe Premiere at that point, which was incredibly helpful because I could not have been doing any of the stuff that I wanted to do on like any of the other software I knew. But because I had learned that program, it was super simple for me when I saw G Gundam Abridged. I saw Little Karibo's Yu-Gi-Oh! I saw your Yu Hakusho. I saw Vegeta 9 3086 and Moscow X's Naruto. And I saw Taka's G Gundam with Cheeseman Joe. But I never really thought about making my own for the longest time. I kind of flirted with the idea, but it was actually when I watched G Gundam Abridged specifically that they were doing some jokes in there that I thought to myself, huh, those are kind of neat. I like how they're. I liked how they used music in some places, diegetically, in fact, and that clicked something in me where I'm like, wait a second, they've got they're doing these setups and these payoffs that work, but I felt like I could do them better with the knowledge, the technical knowledge that I had. And literally, the only reason I got started was that I liked G Gundam, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it better than they could.
And like, so you decided to go with Lupin because I think at the time Vegeta, Moscow, and I were already working on the movies of Dragon Ball, and I know Dragon Ball is like.
Well, yeah, because Dragon Ball was my favorite show. Like
there were also like a billion Dragon Ball abridges at that point too.
Yeah, like shout out to Real DBZ Abridged. But the big thing for me was...
God, thinking back to the day, like Real DBZA, Skins,
Gozar. Wasn't Skins the same? Was Skins made...
Was Skins real?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm pretty
then,
sure.
Yeah, I'm just shouting out the name.
And
but Gozar, though, alternate reality DBZA back in the
Oh,
day.
yeah, alternate reality DBZ. But I actually got started with Lupin specifically because I entered this contest for an old site that might still exist called AnimeOnDVD.com. And they actually had a contest to win the first DVD of Lupin the Third, by, I believe it was writing a haiku about the characters. And I did one for Goemon, and I won! They liked my haiku the most.
Do you remember the haiku?
Nope.
Damn.
No, absolutely not.
Do it live.
But they sent me the DVD, and I sat on
Right,
it
you're
for a
back
long
gonna call
time.
some Germans.
But after I saw G Gundam Abridged and thought, I want to try and do that, I looked at all the DVDs I had, and I decided Lupin would be the easiest because it had their own episodic stories that I didn't have to worry about like long-term planning. I could just write individual episodes. And so I did. I just started from episode 1. I came up with my Lupin voice, which was, I'm just trying to basically ape Tony Oliver, and he was the only guy who I actually tried to sound like the original.
And it sounded good. Like, it was more than passable.
The weird thing is, like, I'd go with, like, this for Jigen, which, honestly, if I'd gotten a little deeper and, like, around here...
You didn't, I don't know if you had that range back then, that same kind of control.
No, I mean, I probably didn't, but I didn't have to go deep and gruff. The only reason I didn't go with something closer to Richard Epcar was that I went with this, because I wanted to be, like, Lex Lang for Goemon. And then I did girl voice for Fujiko.
Of course.
Because that's what we all did, because finding an actress was both very difficult and also it wasn't as funny to us at the time.
And I found your Lupin Abridged just because, like, I think I just finished, like, a class at college, and I was just, like, I think I was just posting another episode or just finished working on another episode for a little bit. God, it must have been in the middle of the Genkai tournament at the time. And I just started randomly searching up shows that I knew and then added a bridge to it. And I searched Lupin the Third, and 2 days ago, you had, like, just uploaded, like, within that week. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then I saw it, and I'm like, oh, shit. The mouths match? How is that possible? What? This is witchcraft.
Yeah, I definitely did. I was putting in a lot of effort into my first. I kind of tried to put effort into every episode, but you
How
can
many
definitely.
episodes in did you get before you got completely shut down?
Technically 9, but really only 8. There was a like unnumbered episode, Fujiko's Bad Day.
Yeah.
It was bad. It's not even
Fujiko's
like,
bad episode.
Yeah, it's not even like technically bad. It's just it didn't work. It wasn't funny. It was like poorly put together.
Anyway, here, I'll offer this up.
Yay!
And I'll open this, but I'll
Okay, good. Oh, that is
That-
so
that's a
tiny.
beautiful
That's a-
size. Hold on. I mean, we're watching all of these in 360p or some shit, so
Ah,
I will let you do the honors in starting it.
this is gonna look and sound and just be shit.
I'm glad I have glasses on.
Am I the only one?
It's only in the left ear, too.
Why is it only in the left ear?
I don't know.
All right, well. Hey, Nice, you beautiful, wonderful editor who edits our videos.
Please fix this for the people at home somehow.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna do
Let's
this.
make it even more Mad Max by jumping this foreigner.
Oh God! Why did we do that?
I don't know.
God. I can taste my own blood.
What's that bloke doing?
This is cute.
Blimey.
Crikey, we're Australian.
We're Australian.
It's weird. The "We're Australian" voice was just basically me doing a Richard AOI impression.
Already though, leagues ahead. You're like
Oh,
mixing
yeah.
things in here.
I'm doing mixed media up in this bitch.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. It's unfair. I'm glad we're doing yours
That bloke
second.
just killed all of our dogs.
That's good. That's fucking good. That bloke just killed all our ducks.
That is not an Australian accent, by the way.
Doesn't matter. That's a good joke.
Oh, I'm
Oh, it's
worried.
a goddamn Fujiko.
Yeah, right. Good old 1970s fan service. Also, I'm very worried I might have done a racist caricature. Let's see.
Let's
I
see.
put so much of my life savings into this, and considering I'm very old, that's a lot of money. Oh, come on now, Vertigo.
Sounds like
I'm
you're just
much
doing a really
younger,
bad,
much more
like,
handsome, and you know what
European
they say about a
accent.
man with a big
European.
chin. Don't say shit
Yeah.
about men with big chins, you prick. Don't you push me, you Spanish sugar daddy.
Yeah,
I'll
see, he's
kill
Spanish.
you obnoxious big chin son of a bitch.
Titty. Ah, fuck you.
Gosh,
Hey,
my test results.
YouTube still had standards back then.
Just a rash.
True.
Oh no, it's from Lupin.
Hey there, guys. It's your old pal Lupin.
Did
Okay.
you change the text on that?
Oh yeah.
God damn you.
Well, okay. So like,
Stop being better.
I hate. But here's the thing. I hate this edit because I chose one of the worst fonts I could have. Like, you can barely read it.
Well, yeah, because it's in 360p.
Yeah, like I should have known what I was doing and chosen more of a bold font. But yeah, at the time, by the way, this was at a time where I was doing all of my visual edits primarily in Photoshop. So this is like I literally took the frame, exported it, cleaned up the page, and then wrote the dialogue down, and then just posted this as its own image. Like, this isn't something that's in Premiere. It's just this is an image that plays, and it.
Here's the thing. That's fine. Like, this is like 2007, almost maybe 2008 abridging.
Yeah.
Like early 2008. Very early.
It's been 5 long years since I've seen you all, and I just can't bear it any longer. So I was thinking we'd get back together, have a little comeback maybe. Like bringing back the Beatles, only the crazy bitch was part of the band from the start. Don't think about how I can afford the tickets and come have some fun on the new luxury liner, the Brisket. I swear you'll enjoy yourselves and have the time of your lives. However inconsequentially short they may be. Hope to see you there. Your friend and cohort, Lupin III. P.S.
You always had a lot of fun with
That's not a
wordplay.
rash.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's because I kind of grew up on the like I really love the idea of trying to play with turns of phrase, puns, and stuff like that. And I also started like I realized I grew up kind of with the Aaron Sorkin like school of dialogue where
Right.
it doesn't have to sound natural as long as it's keeping people engaged and entertained.
And I'm going to take a stab at it and say that unlike me, you actually had a script, kind of.
Kind of. I did kind of write some basic stuff out, but a lot of this is on the fly. Especially the first episode. Later episodes I actually did script.
I think I only ever scripted one episode of Yu Yu Hakusho Abridged.
Okay, that I was proud of.
Yeah?
Being dang, the actual opening's not in the first episode. In future episodes, I use OK Go's Here We Go Again, which I was really, really happy with that
That's
opening.
right, you did.
Yeah, hey, Nice. Play a little bit of that right now. Isn't that fun?
That was adorable.
Oh my god, it's kind of funny. I would go on to then use as much of the original music and all of the stuff I would work on afterwards. I don't know.
Well, it's because you had a much deeper connection to Dragon Ball.
It's true.
Like you felt honor bound almost.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Taka and I always butt heads over that. He always tells me, Scott, Kaiser, don't take it more serious than Toriyama did. I'm like, yeah.
All right, now let's have a look-see.
Restaurant with open bar.
Here we go.
Cineplex with open bar. Pool with open bar. Dentist.
Alright, I need to grab this and go plant it while I'm thinking about afore I forget. Some coins, we need to grab our... Where is my super staff? No, seriously, where did it go? Where is it? There it is.
Okay.
By the way, hell of a cruise line to have open bar.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Also, I want to point out, not proud of this next joke considering how her career went.
Fair enough, but also, just calling back to the Saiyan pod.
Oh, right.
Episode 1 of DBZA. So
Yeah, that's the joke there.
that's the joke is we're referencing his first episode.
Yeah. If we ever, if I could go back in time, that wouldn't be there.
Probably not. Like, hey, I would eventually go on to do a remaster of my first episode after learning one or two things by watching you.
Aw.
That's legitimately why I went back and like, this sucks. I'm going to change some things. I'm going to actually try this time.
Oh, you tried.
I did, but I want to say that I didn't.
Don't tell anybody I tried. God!
That makes me look bad. That was me trying?
Ski slope with open bar. Football with open bar. Racetrack with open bar. Scary rooms with open bar.
Hey, well, isn't that nice? They've gone ahead and accommodated Lindsay Lohan. Goemon, are you still listening to the Eva soundtrack? Come on, that show is 13 years old. You've got to find something new. Lately, I have gotten into an anime called Gurren Lagann. The main character has a sword, and it's really cool.
I don't remember swords.
He used his sword a lot. Kamina.
I only remember Sniper Girl with bikini.
The 14-year-old sniper girl with bikini.
I was younger then.
Okay. But yeah, no, I didn't know what to do with Goemon because honestly, I didn't know really what to do with any of the characters early on, so I just made him a weeb, which is funny because he's Japanese.
Yeah.
Technically, they're all Japanese except for Lupin, who I believe is Japanese French or full French. He might be full French. I don't know.
Lupin is a French, like, I mean, he's like the French Sherlock Holmes kind of deal, except like, you know, burglar instead of, you know.
kind of like this. I'm also enjoying Bleach.
Oh, hey, click!
You had a click.
I had a click.
I wasn't alone. That was a reference to me.
Bitch, I
know
like
it.
Lucky Star and that's it. I'd rather die than watch that crying girls and snow crap.
God, listening to all these old anime referenced.
Yeah, also,
Also, calling them old anime makes me feel even older.
oh, Lucky Star is over 15 years old.
Hey, look, episode progression. Oh my God, it's committing suicide.
No way, I bet that's just Lupin.
Do a flip.
Grand entrance as always. Yep. Open a parachute.
What did he hit?
I don't know.
Gonna be in the smokestack? No.
Cheers. Fraser. Isn't bad luck to twist with water?
Well, I don't know about you, but
It is.
Hey, look, we already know it's some evil mastermind that lured us here, so why don't we just skip to that part, yeah, Lupin?
Huh? Well, I was hoping to do a dramatic reveal, but if you're gonna be like that.
It's really interesting that I would learn to, project and enunciate more later. Because then I was talking like this, I didn't want to talk too loudly. Mostly because I didn't want to peak the microphone.
I mean, like, what microphone were you using at this point? Were you using a Samsung like
Oh,
it was
I
kind of
was-
standard at this point, or were you on like a headset like I was?
I might have been on the headset.
Because there was that one Logitech headset that worked really well, oddly.
Yeah, I think I remember the one. I wouldn't get to the Blue Yeti until way into Dragon Ball.
I eventually switched over to a Samsung CO3U after deciding to get a little bit more serious about it all.
The Samsung was the first one I started with. I did the Samsung CO1U, and then I moved to the Blue Yeti later.
Yeah, the Blue Yeti was the one that everybody moved to after the Samsung. And then started changing the game by moving to XLR setups like way later.
Yep,
And it's
got
like,
got an XLR at home now.
Check this out. Oh, my dear Lupin, how I can't wait for you to hoist me up onto the deck and then thrust me constantly with your gigantic. Oh God, Furry's right better than this.
Furry's right better.
It's true. No, it's true. It's true.
That should be hint number one.
Hey, are you sure I did get some of that morphine? The ceiling's doing something weird.
Whoa,
Wait!
why aren't we running?
That's good too.
I think it's the timing on it. I think it's
No, it's the inflection.
Yeah.
It's like it's partly the timing, but mostly the inflection. Why aren't we running?
I don't know. I don't look fondly on a lot of my past performances, but it is nice to at least
Every
see.
now and again, you find a gem.
Yeah.
I mean, like legitimately,
Wait, so
this
that
is way
means
better
this
than what I
place
did.
is Booby trapped.
Oh, great.
What?
Now we have to do a musical montage.
Do we?
Yeah, we definitely do. Everything you know is wrong.
I should learn more Weird Al.
Sing along. Understand is everything you know is wrong. Everything you know is wrong. Don't copyright.
Please don't hurt us.
Oh
Weird
wait,
Al.
I think this is the quartet, something violin quartet, string quartet. Yeah, the string quartet version of "Closer" from Nine Inch Nails. I loved.
They play.
Time for me to kill some spicy banditos.
At the barber shop I go to all the time, where they just have like the classical versions of like rock songs and stuff.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. Not that I've been there in a
Well,
while.
I thought you guys might be interested. That in all that commotion, I was able to find out who's trying to kill us. Oh, thank God! How long have we been here? As it turns out,
all the clicks.
here's
I
this
know.
little
I'm
step
hearing them now. It's
every
like I'm
imitation
not
he said.
alone.
Yeah.
It looked like we were dealing with the Scorpion. No. There we go.
Amazingly, I did not use Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, you
I
went with
used
Hank Scorpio.
yeah, and like Sasori from fucking
You fucking
Naruto.
weeb.
I know.
You fucking weeb. Shameless.
I think I just didn't want to use the Scorpion because I'm like, that one's obvious, right?
Yeah, let's go with the wordplay ones, not the ones that would be obvious to the people watching.
Dealt with them before, and I'm sure that their leader is just a little bit butthurt over what happened last time.
Attention passengers at the Brisket. We thought that you could use some moonlighting during your wonderful dinner. Please do enjoy the moonlighting, and do not pay attention to any table around you. Pay attention to only your table. And the lights. They're so beautiful.
I do like that. That's a very South Park delivery. And the lights.
They're so beautiful.
You are now in the hidden lair.
I just realized I used.
Hold on.
With open bar.
Okay.
I used a lot of sound effects.
Yeah.
And I think I was like one of the few people who like.
And so far, at least a few dozen more than I did.
Yeah. And I think part of that was that was one of the things I definitely wanted to do more than a lot of other folks were doing at the time. Was like, I want big emotions and actions to be amplified, accented with sound effects, and I want there to be music under most of the scenes. A lot of it's still really quiet, but it was important to me that I tried to make it feel like an actual episode of something. That was my goal from the very beginning. Was like, I'm gonna try and make this feel like it's actually an episode of a show. Apparently, I succeeded well enough for people to start paying attention at that time.
Dude, you like this? Seriously, this was steps above what was currently out there. Like, as you said, the only other person editing even close to what you were doing was what Masako was doing. And this is one man doing all of it. Like, it came out of nowhere, and everybody was like, holy shit, who is this guy? And everybody started like flocking towards you, just like, who reached out first? Like, did Taka like reach out to you first? Because I know I left a comment, and I know like, I know I left a comment on your videos, and
So I can't remember. It was some. God, I can't remember who reached out first. I feel like I might have reached out to Kurt first, or Kurt might have reached out to me.
It's very much Taka's MO to reach out.
Well, back when YouTube had a message system.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, that's how like YouTubers got in touch with each other back then.
Yeah, you could have YouTube friends.
Yeah. And that's like, when that went away, I actually got kind of sad because it was the easiest.
And then they were kicking themselves because like, now we want to launch Google Plus, but that you lost your entire social platform of the website you wanted to use it on.
Yep. But no, I really cannot remember if it was Kurt who reached out to me or I reached out to him. But after I got to know him, I got to know you, and through you, I think I got to know Masako. And then everything sort of converged from there, and then DBZA.
Yeah. Gong.
Well, if it is no Mr. X still pissed off about what happened.
So the really interesting thing here is I'm going to use an impression of Christopher Walken.
That's right. I was trying to think, like, this seems familiar. I'm trying to remember what voice you used here.
Yeah, and Christopher Walken would, the dub used a fantastic impression for another character later, who I would never get to, so I didn't have to come up with something original for him. Yeah. Probably would have done Matthew McConaughey.
I didn't know if you were going to do Christopher Walken for this one. I remember you doing, like, a Mr. Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents for some character at some point.
Which one was Crocker? Wait! The one who touched
Very Odd Parents!
Huh.
Very Good Parents!
Did I?
I feel like you
did. I know I did a voice like this later.
Which that would become my King Kai.
Yeah.
You can talk all you want, but I'm still going to...
Oh, wait.
Oh, what happened to music?
No, this is
Jerry Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
Damn cheap Sony.
Not a very good one, but it, yeah.
Want to kill you anyway.
No, it sounds more like... I think when I first heard this, I thought you were doing a Mike Tyson.
Oh my god, maybe it's...
You do not understand the powers that I possess.
See? There's the Walken!
Yes.
Now we're fighting bandits, I see.
It's an amalgamation of weird... It's just a weird, funny voice.
Yes.
Throwing and the breaking. Okay, usually...
Yeah, there's the Jerry Lewis. Okay.
Now, considering I'm one superhuman up against a bunch of putzes, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a handicap. And hopefully you'll be able to put up even a little bit of a fight. So, all things considered, I'm gonna...
There's someone standing over there.
The sooner I kill you, the sooner I get to my Vitoin and
Not sure I
is
get
that a
that
person?
one.
No, in the lower part of the house.
Oh no, she's a named NPC, I guess.
The Giants must have won the Super Bowl that year.
Do you watch... Did you, like, even watch sports?
No. Oh,
just looked a lot like a player.
I grew up hating sports as a young...
Then you're making a sports joke to, A, the wrong crowd, and...
Yeah, no, as a young queer nerd, sports kind of missed me a little bit.
Right.
Excuse me, I gotta talk to Fat Tony here. I gotta buy some pizzas, eh? You got some cheese and some tomato. I'm gonna make a pizza. Why
is he selling pizzas out here?
Why not, eh? Oh, whoops! I ate the cheese. Oh well. Hey, he's Fat Tony, Talon. Don't worry about it. Hey. All right, everybody, line up, nice and orderly. We're gonna have a little game here.
You playing RuneScape or Diablo 1?
Is that a Diablo 1 thing? It's probably still
I mean, if you
for
got
RuneScape.
a bunch of enemies and you need to, yeah, you can funnel them through doorways and stuff.
Yeah, this guy's trying to join the queue, but he's trying to cut in line. This is not acceptable, man. I really want to fight more of the level 22 bandits. They die so much faster. I mean, these guys get a lot more Slayer XP, but I don't know. I don't know if it matters. Right, next.
Oh, my balls!
There we
There
go.
you used it.
Alright, Fujiko, I have a plan, but we're gonna have to break every law of physics just to do it. So listen
GTA
close.
style mother. Lol, Jigen.
You are the man now, Doc.
You are the man now, dog.
I swear this better work, Lupin.
Oh,
Don't worry,
oh.
I bet my life.
Highway to the
Actually,
danger
considering
zone.
those, that's
I mean, it's
not
quiet enough that maybe it won't. Nope, never mind. There it goes.
Do
Might be
do,
another
do, do,
new
do.
for the show.
Yep.
So much licensed music
yeah.
back in the day.
Into the danger zone.
Get right into the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone.
Highway to the danger zone.
Alright, I can only take so much getting logins. Now what the hell did you do? I'm about to go Green Mile on your ass. Everybody pulls closed.
Oh, why did I use that joke? Oh
Because
no!
you're about to electrocute him.
I know. I know that's legitimately worse than the joke I'm about to make.
Let's see.
Due to electric AIDS.
Oh, so that wouldn't work.
Oh my god, this is more painful than the ending to Jumper. Why did I install Pain Receptors? I never even saw Wicked.
I think I'm thinking of Looper. Jumper was the teleporter one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because Looper was pretty alright.
Why was the ending to Jumper so bad? I don't even remember Jumper.
That's probably why it's bad.
Hello.
Hi.
Holy crap, he's dead.
Straps holding. Yeah, no.
I'm gonna bump the microphone a little.
Oh,
lot.
Fujiko, you dumb cunt!
Oh, just a little.
I remember that also comment. I'm like, ooh, he dropped the C word.
Yep. I was the first.
So edgy.
Mark this in your books. I was the first abridger to use the C word in my show.
Proudly.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And as a gay man, he had nothing to lose.
Shut the fuck up. An hour later, after her harrowing, that's not even how harrowing is spelled.
And you hyphenated.
I hyphenated between the.
We found the inception.
Ah!
Well, not that that wasn't fun at all, but I never even got why he was so
Oh, the straps let go.
What
Yep.
did you do, Lupin? Well, I accidentally spoiled the ending to Cowboy Bebop to him on the Toon Zone forums. It's not my
Toon Zone forums. Goddamn.
The Toon Zone forums. Oh my! I still have people who
bel-
talk to me who used to post there.
I belong to that and only posted on a thread that was talking about my abridged series because I'm a vain motherfucker.
Yo, I get it though. I get it though.
What did you do, Lupin? Well, I accidentally spoiled the ending to Cowboy Bebop to him on the Toon Zone forums. It's not my fault if you click the spoiler tag.
It's true.
Well, I don't know about you, but I sure feel bad about anybody who gets that series spoiled for them. As do I. Let us pray the spoilers away.
Watch Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
They got us. They cut all of my seeds. Holy crap, he's riding a turtle. Hey, Zenigata, if you press A, it goes faster. What? White fish?
That poor turtle.
Go, turtle, go! Oh, crap.
Get ready for physics.
Yep.
God damn you! 70s anime physics!
Yep.
Yep.
Loop on the Oh yeah, you actually did stingers.
I think I just liked him pointing at him, and I felt like that was appropriate there.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, you kind of came around and you changed the game, and through that, we would all get to know each other.
I feel stressed. I feel like I just got interrogated. I feel waterboarded after watching through all that.
Dude, like, this is like the only, like, if this makes it onto the video, which I hope that made it on here. I really hope that made it on here. This is like the only place you can watch this right now other than archive.com.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, oh god, if you guys want to watch the old Lupin series, which I do not recommend.
And definitely don't re-upload them. YouTube fucking hates that.
Yeah, like, no, sincerely, do not re-upload them. You will just get copyright struck immediately. But yeah, if you want to watch them, they're over on archive.org, which is really weird. Like, it's weird. I did vanity check myself, and most of it is just kind of like other stuff. But to see my original show on there, that is strange.
Meanwhile, Yu Yu Hakusho abridged. Oh god, wrong pipe. If for whatever reason you want to torture yourself through that, it's all still live on my YouTube. All of it. Not a single one of them have been taken down. Most of them haven't even been touched by copyright at all. Like, it's crazy.
Wow, that's nuts. Honestly, I imagine like half of them would have been taken down by now.
Oh.
Wow.
My channel is relatively untouched, except for that Kuwabara fan dub that I did. That is the only one that got touched because it was too accurate.
And also, well, that and probably because they look for a certain amount, like certain lengths of scenes that have not been cut down.
Yeah.
But man, I can't believe it. I had to go back through that again. Honestly, I have not watched that in years.
Me neither. Like, I haven't been able to, frankly.
I mean, I was able to because they are on my computer, but
yeah, I have been dreading going back to Yu Yu Hakusho Bridge. I knew at some point I would have to go back and watch some of my early stuff. Maybe, like, if there are enough people that care, maybe I'll do some commentary on it on my own later on, but oh my god.
Yeah.
Want to get back to Season 3 of DBZA?
Please!
Okay, then we're going to have to do that next time.
On that other thing.
On the thing that we should
be doing.
Yes. Happy April 1st. Tyler, that was painful.
Oh, I'm sure. How old are those now? Like
16 years old in a month. Mine can drive in a month.
You know what the interesting thing between the two of our first episodes is? We can tell who the trained actor is.
We can tell who can edit for shit.
Exactly. And that's why we worked together.
I'm just gonna bail. We heal up. I have an idea. I think it's time to range these bastards. Perfect. Much easier. Slower,
This
probably.
guy used so much food, he's just gonna shoot the bandits now.
It wasn't about food, it's about using prayer, and it's a multi-attack zone, so like if I don't only get attacked by one, then I actually have to like use prayer points, even if you can't flick if you're getting attacked on different
Yeah.
on two different frames that touch each other. Or at least maybe you can, but I can't.
Me behind.
Hello, Bandit. These guys drop a surprisingly high amount of herbs. Oh, there's a VGC day one. Guess I could watch that.
Man, I don't think we've confirmed the item yet on stream. But its fourth move, the one that you typically run for coverage, is actually Side Shock. Yeah, poor Toxapex taking neutral damage from the grass type Bullet Seed thanks to its poison typing, going to be taking super effective damage from the Side Shock.
Yep, and that's just
Oh
probably
boy,
gonna wrap that game
legendaries.
here for Jody. Jody probably
Now,
was
now.
pretty excited to say, oh, I can swap
Yes.
this in and Psy Shock it. You went probably not happy to see Shy Shock on a Flutter main, which is probably your best friend when you're running a Toxapex. However, Jody going to wrap that game. I would like to see Wo Chien, and that's not just because we haven't had it on stream yet today. I would just like to see it.
So, I mean, you do bring up an interesting point here, and I think what Jody did very early on in that game, I mean, leading the Grimmsnarl plus the Toxapex on UN side of the field really telegraphs your strategy. I mean, you're basically saying, yo, Toxapex, toxic, baneful bunker, there's going to be poison, infestation, there's going to be this residual bug type damage as well, and then I have Grimmsnarl here with dual screens plus light clay to really just, again, slow the pace of the game down.
Yes, this is way nicer.
Knowing that he has Psyshock on it,
I can stretch.
kept it until the end game, knowing that Toxapex, statistically speaking, was probably going to be the last Pokemon standing for UN, because that was his strategy. And just very well played from him, only sending it in when he absolutely had to, down to the wire, and then locking into the move that would win him the game. Going into game 2, I think Jody can honestly follow that strategy a second time, just because you don't necessarily have to lock into Psyshock there in order to guarantee that knockout. I think that you could probably go for Shadow Ball and have it deal most likely enough damage given the burn residual that we saw on that Toxapex throughout the game. But something for UN to keep in mind, because that's certainly something he can try and mitigate as well. I think that he has to have a very offensive mode on this team, and it's most likely centered around the Chi-Yu, just looking at the other Pokemon available to him. And if you want to catch your opponent off guard, that's certainly one way you can kick things off, but just how do you follow that up, knowing that you probably are going to have that Chi-Yu knocked out very quickly, and then you're still going to rely on this Grimmsnarl Toxapex strategy, potentially.
Looks like Chi-Yu and Brute Bonnet are the adjustment, and Chi-Yu and Grimmsnarl. I think that's probably, like you said, a Pokemon that Jody was not expecting to see in this matchup.
You know, I think it makes sense though, because again, Chi-Yu is one of the most powerful special attackers. It's holding a Choice Scarf according to UN's team sheet, and as a result, could go Choice Scarf Heatwave here. You have the light screen from your own Grimmsnarl to sort of boost up your own defenses, so you don't have to worry about the opposing Chi-Yu knocking out your own
I think that guy.
in this
Why did that guy
situation.
get?
And then any
What?
damage on the Brute Bonnet is just bonus. You do have to worry about the threat of a Spore for sure, especially if the Chi-Yu on Jody's side of the field goes straight for Protect turn 1. But I think that's something that you can sort of play around. And just knowing how powerful Chi-Yu is, it's very possible that a Heatwave alone will pick up the KO on this Brute Bonnet, depending on how it's trained, and depending on if we see it Terrastalize or not.
Looks like Jody's Terrastalizing his Brute Bonnet into that fire typing here, seeing the writing on the wall of a Choice Scarf Heatwave, doing a lot of damage. It's, you know, something that you've probably already prepped for. Light screen here, though. Gonna try and stop some of the damage from the Chi-Yu on the opposite side of the field. Heatwave connects on both Pokemon. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage,
I've trapped
especially
Fat
against that
Tony.
Terrastalization. The Heatwave avoids
Thanks,
the
Fat
Chi-Yu.
Tony. You're saving me from the bandits. No, he's fine.
Grimmsnarl, but that light screen definitely helping
It's
out
not my
here.
fault, it's the
Spore
bandits'
connects, though, onto the Chi-Yu on UN's side.
So a pretty standard turn 1, I think, from both these trainers, acknowledging the fact that these are not standard Pokemon at this point for sure. But I think that UN now is in a very unfortunate position where he really can't necessarily swap out the Chi-Yu because it's just going to come back onto the field asleep. If I were him, I'd probably try to keep that Pokemon around for at least one turn so you can burn through the guaranteed turn of sleep, and then you have more of a chance of waking up later on in the game. You know, we did get a flash of his Pokemon in the back of his party as he was examining a possible switch there, and I think we did see at least the Tinglu. So that's a Pokemon that you could rotate in here once you get a Reflect Up or once you're otherwise a little bit more comfortable in your defensive situation. But again, it's so important to just burn through this first turn of sleep so that you have the opportunity to wake up later when it's probably going to matter a little bit more.
Yeah, looking like Chi-Yu is just going to take its first turn nap. Heatwave will double connect, does do a good chunk of damage. That Grimmsnarl I don't think can take more than 3 of those. Bullets lead into the Chi-Yu as well from Brute Bonnet. It may be a fish, it is not water type though, so this is not doing super effective damage here. It is going to still do some pretty good damage to this Chi-Yu thanks to those loaded dice, allowing it to get at least 4 attacks off. You know, then it does get 5 again though, 50% chance to do so, and it is Toxapex as that last Pokemon in the back to try maybe and get another endgame, but if Toxapex wants to do so, it's got to stay healthy.
It does, and I don't think you necessarily want to swap your Toxapex in on anything. It's a pretty easy prediction for Jody to just target down the Chi-Yu slot, because if the Chi-Yu stays in, great, you don't have to worry about Choice Scarf later on in the game. If it swaps, that's already so much damage on either the Tinglu or the Toxapex for him, and that's going to help him end the slow game that UN is setting up to.
Looks like the Chi-Yu swapping out here. It does have a chance to wake up whenever it comes back in, but sending in Toxapex right now, if this takes another Bullet Seed, we saw that that was able to do a good chunk of damage. Taunt from the Grimmsnarl means no more spores for this Brute Bonnet right now, though. You don't want to have that happen. Heatwave will connect on both. Is enough to knock out that Grimmsnarl, a 3-hit KO through screens. Grimmsnarl is going to have to possibly send in that Chi-Yu later if you want to, especially now that you can't get taunted, but no worries on the taunt here. That Bullet Seed into the Toxapex, we've seen that this does really consistent damage to this Toxapex. A critical hit there, you're going to have good chances for those when you're hitting a Pokemon 4 to 5 times every time you attack, and 4 times there.
I think some of the people watching at home might be wondering why we didn't see that taunt used earlier onto the Brute Bonnet, especially knowing
Some
just
people at
how,
home might be
important
wondering
it
why
was that
Pokemon.
Chi-Yu did not go to
Oh hey,
sleep
I
in
have
the course of
taming
this
now,
game.
Talon.
I think the answer is that as
The
long
heck?
as
It's
you
a picture
have
of a
your
lion.
shields
Look at that guy.
up, you're guaranteed to stick around on the field
guy
for
swapped
a little
his,
bit longer, and you just
somehow.
hope that that
Sailing
little
for
bit of
taming.
longer time is enough to power through the sleep and to ultimately wake up.
You know how I
think
roll.
That it was great that he went for that taunt. The last turn that Grimmsnarl was on the field, because now Tinglu and Toxapex are pretty safe to go for Toxic, go for some, again, consistent damage, maybe a Stomping Tantrum from the Tinglu onto the Chi-Yu to pick up that KO, and just sort of power through this game that way. So it was unfortunate that the Chi-Yu had to take that Spore early on in order to set up this end game, but this team just relies on these shields so much. It's way more important to just get that out so that way these two Pokemon can do what they do best and just stall.
Yep, looks like Great Tusk switching in here. Chi-Yu going for a Protect. Some Pokemon that don't want to take something like a Stomping Tantrum before that Brute Bonnet switched out here. Baneful Bunker will protect, but you're not going to get that poison down onto either Pokemon on the opposite side of the field. Stomping Tantrum looks like it targeted, into that Chi-Yu. Not going to have any effect through that Protect. You do have now a good target there. You didn't target into the Pokemon that switched out. Great Tusk still would have taken some good damage, though.
It would have, but more importantly, I think now this Great Tusk with the Choice Scarf on Jody's
This is the
side
most
of the field
boring
can
match
attack
anyone's
into
ever
that
seen.
Toxapex with a headlong rush and probably knock it out from this range.
Well, there's a
which is
Toxapex,
also
so
great for Jody
yes.
Because now that's another one of these stall Pokemon that is no longer
Yes,
in the picture
exactly.
and will force Yuen to rely on the sleeping Chi-Yu, who probably can't hit this Great Tusk for super effective damage anyways. And Yuen, recognizing that with the double Baneful Bunker, unfortunately does not come through.
Yep, that Headlong Rush easily enough to pick up that knockout. Critical hit as well. That Toxapex
It's a critical!
wasn't going to save it either. You weren't going for something like a Terra Flying there. Just going to get knocked out at this point, meaning that it is a sleeping Chi-Yu in the back. This Heat Wave from the Chi-Yu into the Ting-Lu. Not doing a lot, but it gets a burn. This might be fissure territory, Gabby, to keep the game alive.
I mean, you need to hit 4 of them at this point.
We hit one!
All right.
One onto the Great Tusk. That'll be a one-hit knockout on a Pokemon that could have done that super
Oh yeah, I
damage
love
on
the
the
Fisher.
I saw Yuen just give that Pachirisu
Oh, yeah.
a little pat there. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I mean, let's be real. The odds are very much still in Jody's favor. Even if the Chi-Yu on Yuen's side of the field wakes up and goes for an attack, Yuen has to pick one attack to lock into, and he doesn't know Jody's final Pokemon. So hypothetically speaking, if it's a Pokemon that doesn't necessarily care about fire-type damage, maybe a Flutter Mane like we saw at the end of Game 1, not necessarily the end.
The big Fisher!
Ting-Lu has also taken some damage. It's burned, so maybe if you just want to protect every other turn, you could try and get through the game that way, but then you have to worry that you're giving your opponent more opportunity to land those fissures. So it's a very delicate balance that Judy has to walk here, but I think overall the game is still in his favor, but if a second fissure hits, that's where things change.
Here's the thing, you have a free fissure into the Brute Bonnet. It does not have Protect. You can lock yourself
That's
into Dark
true.
Pulse with the Chi-Yu. That way you're at least doing neutral damage onto every Pokemon on the opposite side of the field. You get the first turn wake.
The big wakes!
Choice Scarf into the Brute Bonnet. Not enough to knock out. Heat Wave does not miss. That's probably something you needed. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It is going to at least take a little bit of a loss here. Bullet Seed into the Chi-Yu on the opposite side of the field. This may be, it'll definitely knock out for sure, which is, at least one thing that you need. You're going to get the fourth one that'll get the knockout at least. You need to hit fissures. The fact of the matter is that Brute Bonnet, I think, is your bigger threat. And the fact that you targeted into it probably means that you fissured into that Chi-Yu, possibly. Oh, no,
Oh
Chi-Yu
my
doesn't
gosh, it
count.
bullet seeded, I think. I don't know, I was playing the
My God! The big plays!
Get a one-hit knockout. You mean you have 2 points
Oh,
against a
Fisher!
two-move.
Skill!
Move. It is not impossible.
All right, well, at least both these trainers are
Such skill,
smiling
much
about
Fisher.
this situation because I think that this is where you start to sweat a little bit.
Oh,
and
I'm sweating
regardless
now.
of what side of the table you're on at this point. Flutter Mane, Choice Specs does have Moonblast. I think that's a pretty safe lock here into the Ting-Lu. You can run a Dark Pulse on your own Chi-Yu to try and roll for that flinch chance as well. And again, this is all just assuming that this Ting-Lu is going to try and double down on these fissures. It doesn't have to. You do have other moves that can deal damage, but how long do you think you're going to stick around?
All right, that light screen really paying dividends. Dark Pulse, not enough to get the knockout here. I don't know if it'll knock out on the next one as well. That's the thing. Fissure, not going to connect, and that means at that point, looks like Jody has wrapped that game as best as he can. Fissure 30% chance aside.
I mean, we just saw 2 out of 3, which is higher than
Oh my
30%.
gosh, Fisher didn't hit.
Maybe if something crazy happened, we'd have the opportunity.
You imagine
to get
Fisher
more
did not
more
hit 3
Fisher in
times?
on stream, but very well
I
played
can imagine
there.
it
I think
hitting 3
Yuen did a
times, and then he
fantastic
wins,
job of just
because he's just
showcasing
more
that you
skilled.
don't necessarily have to
Yeah,
play
definitely.
the game as we're seeing a lot of people do with the Ting-Lus, with your Palafins, with your Arcanines, that very common Fire, Water, Grass core. You can mix things up and have a fun chance at doing some big damage, and worst case scenario, there's Fissure.
That's true. It's just such a move.
It is a move. It is one of the moves of all time for sure, but it's also not accurate, and you don't want to be playing your games consistently where your fissure is your win condition. But the thing that makes Ting Lu worth considering is that
You're
can
never
still
out of
play
the
it.
game. You're never out of the game.
You're never out of the game, and that you can play to those outs if you are in a bad position, and 30% of the time, it works every time.
You know, Joe says 50-50. I'm going to boost those odds to 50-50 as well. It either hits or it doesn't.
I mean, everything in the universe, I feel like, could be observed under those rules, so to speak. I personally still believe in the 30%. I want to believe in the 30%.
See, it's 30% when I run it, but it's like 80% when anyone else runs it.
I know, that is true. That is true. I will admit that when I run Fissure, it's less than 30%, but when my opponents are running it, it's over 30%. But that's how probability works. It balances out on the long term.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys liked UN's team, he's not out of the woods yet, but there's still a chance for UN to qualify as well. It needs to win this last round. His 6-2 needs to get 7-2 to move on to day 2. Jody has locked his day 2. We were so excited about the fissures, I didn't even bring that up, but a huge congratulations. Jody has played incredibly consistently throughout the entirety of Regulation B, and it's nice to see that that has continued to move on into Regulation C.
44 more Banditos.
I know, and it's so great seeing all these players from earlier formats just coming back into Scarlet and Violet and having these consistent results, you know, showcasing that they are still in the game. And I feel like you could do a lot of analysis there on the commonalities from older formats with Scarlet and Violet, terrestrialization versus Megas, for example, as that was prevalent when 2014, 2015, that time area.
Prevalent?
Time period. But still, I think it's also really cool to just see how he was able to take a team that, you know, is a bit on the more standard side of things for this tournament and adjust it to handle something completely out of left field, because I don't think anybody had Toxapex on their list of Pokemon to watch for counters going into this weekend. I think now you have to respect it for sure. I have a feeling with Psyshock on the Fluttermane wasn't so much to respect the Toxapex, but instead to respect all of the random Terra poisons we're seeing, partially for defensive purposes and partially for Glamora to be able to soak up those toxic spikes.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a pretty good Ting Lu counter, especially if you're sending it out there and you want to go for a Moonblast, but you know that you've got the terrestrialization into a Terra Poison. It's a call that I think is something we may see pick up. Like, we've seen Thunderbolt pick up a lot on that Golden Go, because now you're seeing them run with Chi-Yu, where they typically run choice specs, because then they have that extra boost. And
when she
you
said
can go for a couple
Chi-Yu, I
more
thought
Mega
she was
Rings
going to
than
say
intended,
cheese.
because of having that
And I was like, no, Golden Go is the cheese. It doesn't go with cheese.
Really nice. So then you're
you don't
seeing
eat
typically
cheese with
another
a side of
coverage in
cheese.
Thunderbolt I think will pick up, because you're not seeing so many bulky Golden Go variants.
Unless.
You're seeing a lot of your bulk now being put onto the Fluttermane.
Yeah, and I think that's also a development to keep an eye on for sure.
Knock,
and
knock,
I'm
it's
curious
Bandit.
as we start seeing more of these dark type Pokemon in particular.
Sometimes you just gotta have some
If you're
cheese.
gonna have to start running the bulk on the Fluttermane. I mean, admittedly, I have not done this calc yet, but I'm wondering if it is even possible to make a Fluttermane bulky enough so that I could take a Dark Pulse from a Chi-Yu, for example. Because that seems like something that's going to become very, very relevant as we watch these Treasures of Ruins Pokemon sort of bubble to the top of the usage rankings.
It might be an Assault Vest plus Light Screen kind of calculation.
But
you know,
apparently
it
you
could
found a way.
It could happen. Team building is wide open right now. That's the fun part about a change in format, is just how team building completely changes. Just some fun facts here. There's a Leafeon
I'm gonna
in this
attack
tournament.
Donnie the
It's
Lad.
currently at X and 1. There's a lot of Hawlucha was a Pokemon you and I talked about, I think, over the week that was at X and 1 as well. I don't know how these trainers are doing at this point, but interesting to see so many cool teams doing well throughout the day and still having a shot to make day 2. And I think that was such a highlight of UN's team. You had 3 out of 4. Half your team was Treasures of Ruin. You had 4 dark types on that team, including Grimmsnarl, and that is pretty nutty.
It is pretty crazy indeed. Let's go ahead and head back to the Piplup party, where Sierra is keeping the party going with another winner's interview. Please, Sierra, take it away.
Thank you so much, you
Are these enemies no longer aggressive
Jody
against me?
Azzarelli.
That's
After that
right,
match,
I
you're talking
forgot.
about parties. I feel like the ending of that match was the crowd was going nuts. We're going to talk about that first, because you're sitting there, your opponent has Fissure, goes for it, hits it, not just once, but twice.
Alright, so it was more of like a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. So like the first Fissure, I'm like, it's bound to happen. The second one, my palms were getting sweaty. And then the third, I was like, say it ain't so. So Yeah.
The third one too. I mean, you're looking at it. You see the fissure on the horizon. Was that just kind of a moment too of like wow, this could really just hit right now?
Yeah, I was just like, because I wasn't really thinking about the end game. I was just like, man, if that hit, this makes this game really awkward. And then it hit, and then it hit again, and I'm like, now it's a really awkward game. But it was a super fun match. They played it amazingly.
Yeah, and then talking about it too, because I mean, you're over here. I mean, obviously, whenever anyone wins, they're gonna be pretty smiley and all happy, but I have not seen anyone pop back here with the energy that you have about this match. So talk to me a little bit about the set, because it was a really enjoyable one for us to be watching.
So the set was a bit scary looking at the team sheet, because you see stuff like that and you're like, this is going to be a long one. No matter what happens, it's going to be a long one. And this is actually a team I lost to a lot on ladder. So I was just like, man, no one would ever actually bring this to a tournament, right? And lo and behold, though the matchup this time around is in my favor, just because when you use Wochian and Tinglu, you want to like bully your opponent for which side they lean on. And because I lean a mix of special attackers and physical attackers, my opponent has...
Where's Zed of Jed?
I lost enough against stuff like this. I gotta make
far,
sure
far away.
I'm good going forward.
Get back here.
So then, in terms of the matchups that you've had today, because Regulation C, I mean, we've seen some crazy stuff out of there. Even looking at the field, there is some absolute shenanigans going on. In terms of how your run has been going, has that been the most unique, or have you seen any other crazy things?
Have I seen any other crazy thing? Honestly, no. This is okay. So like, my brain is just this is the craziest thing. I haven't seen anything. I've seen like cool stuff. I've seen a Dragapult be used. Brain is going blank.
You're good. You're good. It's a long day. We're reaching the end of it. So
yeah. One more round.
One more round, but with that one, that's a day 2 now. So
it is.
How are you feeling?
Oh, good. I went to Charlotte last week, made day 2 as well, so back-to-back day 2s. It's nice, I cannot complain.
No complaints about the day 2, that's always great. And then looking ahead at your team and everything Regulation C has to offer, how are you feeling with your chances out on the field? Like, is this the field you kind of expected, or is there something you didn't really expect but you're still doing well against?
Honestly, because it's the first week, I didn't expect anything. I just went in with building a team that gets its job done into as many of the teams as possible, because people are bringing anything. People are bringing Toxapex, right? So the general goal was just to build a really strong team that deals a lot of damage, so that I don't have to deal with all like the stall teams. One of the goals is I did want to kill Tinglu early before it starts clicking Fissure. So I loaded on as many mons that can deal damage to it.
Yeah, that was actually a conversation that we got to have earlier in the lounge, was you're going to let Tinglu sit there and click Fissure against you 6 times. I mean, eventually it's going to hit, and I mean, this time we didn't have to see it sit there for 6 turns. Yeah, it's just going to go out of the way and hit it the first 2, but you know, it is like it is. But these Ruin Pokemon, they're definitely super strong coming into this.
What do I want to order
Chi-Yu
for
was
dinner?
one that
I have a coupon
a couple of people
that
have mixed
expires
feelings about,
tomorrow.
because it can definitely be strong, but at the same
So
time,
now
the
I
move
have to
pool,
use it.
There's inaccuracies, it can be kind of agile.
What can
so
the
how
coupon
is it
get you?
this Pokemon that
I
you
mean,
landed on?
any food. I just have to order
So I
some
think
food.
the best Pokemon in the format is Fluttermane, and like I said, the goal.
What have you not had this week?
And
I don't know.
Chi-Yu has the ability to lower special effects on the board. So it just felt easy.
Chinese.
And then I was like, I want to do even more than this. So I put Murkrow
Sushi.
to use Sunny Day. So it's just like very cool defensive Pokemon. Let's see you survive Sun boosted, Proto boosted, Choice Specs, Terra Fairy, Boomblast. So that was the idea behind the team.
And then I want to ask a little bit about the Corviknight, because that's one that's been around for a while, and you're not only bringing the Corviknight, but you got the Double Birds. So you have Corviknight, you have this Murkrow that can be setting up and doing all of these things. So How have you felt with those two in particular? Because Murkrow can definitely be passive. Corviknight can sometimes struggle.
Yes. Corviknight was actually my last Pokemon on the team.
Last one.
And it went through everything. It was an Azu, it was a Bundle, it was an Arcanine, and they all just felt bad. So the goal of my last slot had to be good into Flutter, had to be good into Tinglu, had to be good into Bundle, had to be good into physical stuff. So this is just, I'm asking
That's
for
a long
miracle.
list. Yeah.
And last, like, on my flight here, my friend Donald was just like, use Corviknight, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but it's a very slow to ramp up Pokemon.
Yeah.
So then he was like, just use Choice Band Corviknight. So I was like, wait a minute, you're cooking. So it's been really funny. I wish I could bring Corviknight to this matchup, but I couldn't. But it's been taking so many KOs throughout the whole tournament. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Corviknight.
That perfect last-minute slot. There's a long list of requirements, and it's living up well to that. Now, even though you're in day 2, still have another round ahead of you. Make sure you're set up for success for day 2. So I will let you go.
Thank you.
First off, if there's any shout-outs or any final words.
Final words, shout-outs. Thank you to, I guess, my mom. I haven't shouted out my mom in, like, ever at these. So shout out to you, Ma. You watched this set. Hope that you were not too confused. Shout out to all my Final Fantasy friends that watched this. I put it in the Discord so they can watch it. Shout out to June, who has been amazing. I've been texting them, one of my best friends. Shout out to, like, last week they were there at the event, and this week they helped me get my team ready and stuff. I don't know, shout out to everyone on Twitter giving me support. That's cool. It's still weird to, like, have so many people be like, you're a guy from Twitter, and it's funny, but shout out to all of you guys. It's having fun. Ready for the next round.
The next Twitter post has to be after making a big long run into the event. So and shout out your mom more. That's
yes.
Come on, but congratulations once again. I'll let you go. As for us, one more round on the day, so don't go too far.
Sushi place is not accepting orders from now. Maybe we'll get Mediterranean.
That sounds good. What kind of Mediterranean will you take? Will you get?
The Mediterranean kind? I don't understand. I do not understand your question.
So, they only invent one food in the Mediterranean?
Yes.
One Mediterraneans, please.
Yep. They only invented heroes. Mankind has no need for heroes. But I do.
Oh my gosh, a Pokemon trailer!
I love the Pokemon, oh yeah.
The hidden treasure of Area Zero. Oh, the stupid legendaries are coming out in 2 different waves?
I guess? Oh, check that. Sure.
Well, I just saw they said part 1 is the teal mask and part 2 is the whatever disc.
Hey Pokemon trainers, Joe Brown here. Let's take a quick look at some highlights from the 2023 Pokemon VGC Regional Championships in Charlotte. This was the final event using the Regulation B rule set. Fluttermane continued to be the highest usage Pokemon on over 54% of all teams in Charlotte. And that number rose even higher to 61%
I don't
of
believe
all
Fluttermane
teams
was
in
used.
Daytona. Our Masters Division Finals was a battle between Tri-State trainers Justin Karras and Joe Ugarte. Justin's Fluttermane and Great Tusk team was poised to be the strongest team in Regulation B. And as the last trainer standing without a Fluttermane, Joe Ugarte felt confident in claiming his second regional championship.
Oh yeah, I love the Fluttermane.
He claimed his first regional
Same.
great send-off to the Regulation B format.
At this point, his Great Tusk is going to be felled as he throws in the towel. Justin Karras will be your regional champion here in Charlotte.
Alright, we've ordered.
Make sure
Congratulations,
to check
Fluttermane, you
Pokemon.com/compete
won.
For all the information you need to follow or join in on the action at future events.
Can't believe a Fluttermane would win. It's unheard of, actually.
I'm Jisung Lee, and I'm originally from Korea, and I'm currently living in Canada.
A nice start here would do it. Coming out for the Baxcalibur, so that priority move going into the Tatsugiri. And that final knockout crowns Jisung Lee, your 2023 San Diego Regional Champion.
Oh, honestly, I feel like just dreaming, because like I've been saying to my friends that like if I go half and half, like 5 wins, 5 losses on the Swiss rounds, I would be like fine, but I kind of overdid my goal, so yeah, it just feels amazing. Yeah, it was really good because I got to see a lot of people whom I only talked via online, and I got to meet them in person and like talk and play games, so yeah, that's amazing. Winning Worlds would be some of my like final stage as a player, because I started playing this game watching Seijun Park, another Korean world champion, winning it. So getting on this stage might mean some kind of ending for, you know, like animations or movies where it's like the change of generation.
My name is Wolf Glick, and I am from Washington, D.C.
Wolf Geek.
It's so much, it's not quite enough in this pace, but when the move that you have is that wild charge, that recoil is not enough, so the match is canceled. Wolf Glick taking the series, your Orlando Pokemon Regional Champion. Look at that.
Feels great to win a regional, especially this early on into a game's lifespan.
I would play a lot of
Pokemon. Was a
Pokemon.
lot of my favorite Pokemon as well, which feels really nice.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think what's cool about competitive Pokemon is that every year it grows. Like, it's really cool seeing how far competitive
See the one
Pokemon
with
has
the
come, and,
kind of ugly
you know,
haircut?
Sword and Shield, we saw huge
Think so.
advancements in competitive Pokemon, despite the fact that we only had one world championship.
What is going on
Now
there?
that we're kind of back to full force, I'm really excited to see where the game goes over this next, you know, life cycle.
Look, he's stylish down. This is Pokemon
I think
style.
you have to be a little bit crazy to think that you can win the world
It's complete mess, yes, I believe that actually.
I don't know. I don't think that my odds are amazing by any means, but I think that I have a shot. And I think every year I have a shot. So I think that no matter what happens, I think that I'll be there and I'll do my best
Sounded
to
like
win.
he said my odds. Don't talk about
My
your,
name is
your
Justin
autisms.
Tang. I'm born in Maryland. I'm still
rude.
processing it. It's just pretty funny. I don't know. It doesn't feel real. You know, I'm here for fun. I'm here to win, and it's just great to have both of that, really.
The Shadow Ball, this should be enough to clean it up. Justin Tang, your Knoxville Regional Champion. First regional competition that he has competed at, and he's taking down the entire thing.
I was confident in my skills to do well, but you know, of course, I did not expect to go away. I was a singles player, and then I got into VGC, watched videos like from Cybertron and people, it made me want to play more, and here I am. It's really cool. I'm a huge fan of regionals. It's honestly a great way to just competitively meet people.
That guy's hat was censored out.
What did it say?
That's quite a
I'm guessing it's just a non-Pokemon logo. Like I have no idea what it could be, but it's like very blatantly censored out.
Yeah, I see it now.
This is almost all I do, really.
Oh, I guess that's an American flag or some kind of flag is what it looks like.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to
I don't think they would
Pokemon
center it on
Regional
the flag.
Championships here in beautiful.
It was
Fort
flag
Worth.
shaped.
The Piplup Party It's still going strong, guys. And we are so close to ending out our day. Just one more round left on the horizon for our competitors to try and get into day 2. It's been a lot of fun
Definitely
so
had
far.
stripes, I
Regulation
think.
C, that's just been crazy. Honestly, that last match in particular is what made me really want to sit down and talk about this, because we got to see not only one of the most, actually I'm going to say one of the most unique teams, but there is a lot of unique teams. A very unique team, as well as that double fissure. That was such a fun match to watch and for the players to play.
Yeah, I really love to see just how
Such a unique
excited
match. I love
and how
unique
animated
matches
they were
that
as well throughout
just
that
involve
match,
a bunch of
because
fissures.
you know, certainly you
Very
see Fissure
skill.
hit once, it can be a little bit, you know, a thing to
Very
be concerned
skill.
about. Twice, doubly concerned for sure, but I think Jody
Oh,
just has
Rick
so much
Turpentine,
experience
give
playing
me,
the game, and I think he
give
knew
me
that
your
he
penance.
did have that win condition locked up, which was great.
A
but
another
it set us
tooth
up
half
really
of
well,
key,
and I think
hey?
that
Rick
sort of
Turpentine?
slow-mo
I've got 3 of
stacking
them.
Damage upon damage is something to really keep an eye out for as Regulation C develops.
Freaking Rick
Not
Turpentine.
quite time for it in that match, but obviously, you know, he's currently X2 in the tournament. It's doing very well here today overall.
I've had really crazy matches on stream all day. I've been honestly blessed. We had the double Blizzard Freeze in games 1 and 2 a little bit earlier on in the day. I had the double fissures. It's kind of everything's going in 2s for me today. I had the 2 party hats. You
I'm
know.
really glad that other people's misfortune with their luck is your
I get all the content.
No, it's been a lot of fun, and hearing the crowd pop off. I mean, that last one backstage, y'all are casting. I don't know if you could hear us. The crowd is going nuts, but then also back in production, me, Jake, and Joe are just yelling. We're like, yes, click Fissure, go for it. And he hits, and we're all like, oh my goodness. So it's been an absolute blast. I've been super enjoying the event. And something that we like to be tuning in with during the event is how other people are enjoying that experience. We've been able to have people share with us on Twitter, either who's watching the stream or who is at the event themselves, what they're thinking. So we're gonna take a moment to be checking in on a couple of the tweets.
I saw this earlier.
One is so good. I saw it too. I am in love with this drawing. Watching online, had to do a quick doodle of our draft during the draw session.
Whoa, do not draw sexy for a draft.
Great. I would love to see
Why is it
Oh,
making?
dear Lord.
Why is it making?
I mean, I think that's the face it makes in game.
I will lose. That is so good.
That can't be.
No.
I'm also not having you on a segment because you can't guess.
No, I know. It was such an awesome drawing, and there it is.
There it is. It was so good. The most endearing segment I've ever seen on a play Pokemon stream. Kudos to Jeremy. Allen,
Anybody
for
else have
having
8
this
billion
idea.
Slayer enchantments?
I think it was
Slayer.
a great group of individuals to have. These drawings turned out so well.
I can
so
turn
much
it
fun.
into
The
a
first
Slayer staff.
You guys looked like you were having such a
Slayer
blast.
staff
Gabby and I were sitting at the
E.
desk, like, just laughing.
Oh, it looks like somebody
Curious.
got some good pulls as well with the Gyarados and the Magikarp with the Gyarados EX. Both the
It turns
typical, I
the
think,
damage
30 and the
from
super rare
your
version
Slayer
to
staff
art.
Slayer spell from
It looks like
magic
other games have been
level
going to game
times
3
1 over
points.
10 plus
you
10
clearly
to
have the
magic
fish there
level
supporting you. Best of
times
luck and
1/6
glad to hear that you
plus
haven't lost your
13.
mental, as
Oh,
honestly,
that's
that is
actually
probably the toughest part of playing
that's
9
actually
rounds
pretty
of
high.
Swift. Just keeping your head in the game round after round after round.
It's like remembering we're all
That means my max Slayer staff hit with that is
so you gotta keep
is
that mental
freaking
good.
20
birthday, Caleb. It's always
25?
great to
Is that an
celebrate
Ivan's Blast?
one of the
What do you
birthdays
need
of
to
our
make
captain,
a
and the
what do you need
cake
to
is
cast
so
Magic Dart?
cute. The Piplup party's going strong, but hey, we're gonna have the birthday party and the Piplup
Oh,
party.
1
Like,
death and 4
I don't know if everyone
mines?
can
That's
hear
pretty
backstage
good.
while
That's
Gabby
pretty
and I were
good.
casting.
So they did. Yeah,
Okay,
it was
good.
in the stream.
It's not quite as strange, but the smile on it is a bit strange.
Gabby and I, so we had the game on, so it wasn't showing Gabby and I's faces, but we looked
Stupid
at each
sexy
other and we were
draft
both like
draft.
trying to not
Struggling.
laugh. And happy birthday,
No one
Caleb.
cares
Yeah,
about
happy
Caleb.
birthday for sure. I don't know. What
I
to
love
say
Caleb.
during the happy birthday because part of me just wanted to join in and sing. I
That
really
cannot
should have.
be.
It would have been weird and non sequitur,
Yeah,
but
it
it would have worked apparently. So
Hey,
maybe
if
next time.
any happy birthday has to be chaotic. So honestly, that's exactly how it has to go. But there's also just been a lot of chaos over this weekend too. So I want to circle back to talking about a couple
Oh,
of the
a
unique
what? A
keys.
Laren's
As
key,
we're
you say?
nearing the end of day 1 here in our
2
competition
keys, you
four-way,
say?
A lot of people are either on their winning in or securing
That's
spots.
wild.
So thought it'd be
Having
really
a-
fun to kind of
Having a wild little bandit party over here, honestly.
having their chance or have made their way
Everything-
in. And first one made.
everything
this one's
just
gonna drop to
freaking
you. This is one we talked about earlier.
showed
I
up
know.
at the end of
Yeah,
this
and
Slayer desk.
congratulations,
Slayer.
and I'm so sorry in advance for the name, but VJ Sood with the Meowscarada, Tinkaton, Iron Moth, Braviary, Gardevoir, Azumarill. Absolutely incredible. It was one that we've been kind of keeping our eye on, and that is now 7-1 record to make day 2.
Oh, that might be an early round pull for
Laren
tomorrow if
Ski.
we can get it on stream. You know,
You think I'll
who
get
knows,
PvP'd
but
going for this
such a
Laren
cool
Ski?
team. I have loved Tinkaton since the beginning. It's on my
What would I
radar.
want from a Laren
maybe.
Ski?
Not very good yet, but I am glad to see someone else is having success in an
Laren's
unorthodox
big
way.
chest.
Hey, wherever you can take inspiration is always fantastic.
Why do you have some
especially
herb in your
this
inventory?
is just
They
the
drop
first
herb.
regulation sea
A
event,
lot
so
of
there is
human
gonna be a
enemies
lot of
drop a lot
eyes
of
going
herb. I
onto
don't
this
know why. I
event,
guess they're all
looking on
freaking
forward, looking as well at what is out there. I shouldn't be too surprised, but there is a lot of Glamora.
That one I was anticipating going into this event. I was, doing some practice battles online this week with some friends, trying to figure out the metagame. And Glamora, with its toxic debris ability to set up toxic spikes.
Okay,
and to
I have
slow the game
decided
down with Ting
what
Lu,
I
just
actually
felt
would like
very synergistic.
most
I think
from
that's kind
the
of what we tried to see the Toxapex do.
from the Laren
Unfortunately,
Ski.
with
I
Toxic,
would
you have to
like
move in order to set up the poison, whereas with Toxic's debris, it's just on the field. You can slot it
350
in,
to
Pokemon
550
didn't have a
noted
poison,
steel
and
bars.
that just, I think, makes it play a little
Because I'm
bit
gonna have to do
easier.
smithing soon, and
Definitely
that would
something to
actually
keep an
be
eye out for moving
sick.
forwards, and exactly why we've seen so many poison
That means
type
all I have
drafts
to do is work on the Mithril.
I think a lot of people had their eyes on Glamora particularly. going into this
Second
event.
place.
A couple of other Pokemon that were really being able to make their way.
I guess just
going
give
forward
me
in
the
Regulation B that we're seeing.
just straight up
There
money.
is Ceruledge. This one, Kino
me 175,000 coins,
Sableye,
please.
Roaring Moon,
Thanks.
Fluttermane, and Ceruledge. Sableye, another Pokemon too that we get to see sometimes, but really not too often.
Well, that Prankster Sunny Day is really, really nice, especially with, Chi-Yu running around, having those heat waves and overheats boosted by a Prankster Sunny Day. Sableye is one of my favorite Pokemon, for those of you that
Get
don't
away,
know. But
Chef.
so it's just, I've run Sableye. I ran a Sableye Reshiram team at the London Open last year, which was actually super fun. I believe it's
3
a,
more
like, the top 14
enemies.
from maybe
I choose you, Weak Bandit Chew.
which was a super neat team. It's a really cool Pokemon. Prankster's a good ability. Sableye just doesn't have as much of a move pool where you don't have like the 4 move syndrome like Whimsicott used to have. So
Why
it's
is
a
an
cool Pokemon. Its typing
alien
definitely, I think, does
mothership
well, but
taking
it's
over
not something
Pokemon?
you necessarily want to terastallize.
This next Pokemon, this is a shout out to Rose type of Pokemon, not the Sylveon, because that one I don't think we can say is too atypical.
It's not?
But Daniel.
Did you not hear that like
with
weird buzzing?
Torkoal, Talonflame, Glamora,
Oh.
Roach,
No,
and
because I have the stream
Fluttermane,
muted.
and Leafeon.
Yeah, I may have mentioned the Leafeon team to me earlier, and I was like, okay, I can see the benefit of having a powerful grass-type Pokemon. I believe Leafeon also gets access to Chlorophyll as one of its abilities to double its speed in the sun. It basically plays like a Lilligant that doesn't have After View, so you can still move faster and deal super effective damage to anything weak to Leaf Blade in particular. And it's also just a very cute Pokemon, which at the end of the day, if you are running a team, why not pick one of your Pokemon as your favorites to end up on that
99
team as well?
Slayer
I've heard the cuter the team, the more accurate your moves are. Like,
Oh, 100%.
I saw that. I saw someone on Twitter said your team should be aesthetically pleasing, and that's how you win. And they're right.
I mean, the person who said that too was doing pretty good for a hot second. So,
He might have the plays. I don't know.
Might. We'll have to see. If the aesthetically pleasing team makes day 2, well then, that's the strategy going forward. Another one that we have, Brendan King. Chi-Yu, Dragonite, Azumarill, Qianpao, Fluttermane, and I'm gonna have you guys try and guess this last one.
Wait, I think I know this one, so don't have me guess it.
All right, see if Gabby can guess
no.
it. Sorry, all the pressure on you, Gabby. I apologize.
Oh my god, I'm like trying to think to
That's
myself.
what Maeve gets for cheating.
All I can think about is Tinkaton right now.
It's cute. It's cute.
Tinkaton is cute.
Can I say what I think it is? Is this a Salazzle?
No.
Salazzle's not cute.
I don't know, but there was...
No, it's a Dosh Bud.
Oh!
That is very cute.
That's a Chi-Yu counter there, for sure.
Is that with like baby doll eyes or something?
I do not have the list.
That's okay. We also don't want to reveal too many secrets, right?
True.
Yeah, we're just talking about the cool Pokemon, but no, it's really cool. And the teams that we're talking about now, these are teams that go into our next round, or at the 6-2. They still have that chance to be making into this day 2. So already, these teams to squeak out like this day 2 has potential to be fantastic.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. I mean, it's great that we're seeing a lot of these trainers try and innovate so early on in the format. I was honestly very scared that we'd see a ton of fire, water, grass players going into today. Your Ting-Lus, your Arcanine, your Palafin, and while there is a lot of that out on the field, I think that we've seen consistently throughout the tournament that that's not necessarily the winning play, as there are ways to play around that, which is great for us.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting, right, is that even though we've seen that we keep calling it Ting-Lu balance, we're probably going to call it that for the next couple of months up until NAIC.
I don't know. I'm like trying to figure out like, see, I picture Ting-Lu trying to balance things on its head in that like bowl thing that it has, and I mean, I get where the name comes from, but at the same time, I want to see Ting-Lu balancing some Pokemon on its head. If that's really the name that we're gonna go with.
It does put the
Alright,
the
let's go
terraformation,
turn in the Laren's key,
like,
or at
right
least
in the
attempt
center of
to.
the bowl, whatever the symbol is.
Disappointing.
Oh no, I love it. I think it's exciting.
I think it needs to be on top of the bowl at an angle.
Like our hat.
Like our hat.
Yeah.
Well, like your hat. My hat is actually pretty square on center right now. Aren't you glad you had us back here for the segment?
Yeah, isn't it? Hey, Sierra. How's it going? Thanks for the party invite.
Yeah, this is great.
I don't know if I'm ever inviting y'all to a party. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Deserved.
Yeah, no, I
can't
think
wait
we
to see the
understand.
shenanigans when there is this plushie to see what plushies that y'all are putting into the bowl on the Ting-Lu's head.
Oh, it's gonna be a party.
We got plans.
Got play. All right. Well, a couple more teams that are interesting, notably at this 6-2, to keep it a little bit on track. Not ones that you can unfortunately balance other plushies on top of, but this Sandy Shocks Ipartha has been something that's been kind of running around. This one's going to be Sean Worcester, and it's going to be paired up with Scizor, Gyarados, Wo-Chien, and Mimikyu.
Okay.
Scissor's a Pokemon that was kind of on my radar anyway. That Bullet Punch is really nice. Having Chien Pao also to help, when you have those priority physical attacks, it's just instantly partnered well with Wo-Chien. Scizor typically wants to be a Pokemon to terrestrialize, so it definitely is one of those Pokemon that hogs terrestrialization when you put it on the field.
Yeah, and we have seen Sleep do consistently well throughout multiple Pokemon tournaments. So if you have a way to guarantee to put a Pokemon to sleep, and Gravity Hypnosis also, you don't have to worry about any safety goggles or grass-type Pokemon lurking around. That's a play.
Yeah, so that's the notable ones that's seen from this 6-2 that we're going to be calling out. There's still a lot of great teams out there. What I am most sad about, and I'm going to have to go through...
Why can they talk for hours on end?
Right at the beginning of the day.
Stretch.
Just not presumably nothing.
Yeah, at the point at which I checked, there was a couple of Slitherwings that were sitting at like a 3-0 and kind of, it's Slitherwing. So let's go. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing them anywhere on our list now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I feel like there's some bad news going to be delivered my way.
Yeah.
But so this isn't the Slitherwing event, but then in terms of what we've gotten to see so far, is there anything in particular that you two are surprised that we have gotten to see or haven't gotten to see? Because, of course, we were all doing our own testing coming into this.
Do you want to go first? Or I can go first. All right. Annihilate. Honestly, Annihilate, because it
They
is
should just let these
Yeah, we're on the same
ladies
brain
just
cell
have
today,
wine.
for sure.
They would be like the
It's
View
a very
Pokemon
strong
edition.
fighting type Pokemon. It has access to Drain Punch. You can run it bulky, get recovery, and what better way to sort of punch your way through your Wo-Chiens, your Ting-Lus of the format, just knowing that you can get that consistent damage going. You have Rage Fist as well to sort of attack things once those Pokemon are off the field after you've taken all those hits, and you have decent recovery. So I know that it's out there in the field. I think that the supporting Pokemon for Annihilate and Mousehold in particular haven't quite been figured out for this tournament, but I think that going into future events, Annihilate is definitely a Pokemon that I will expect to see a lot.
Okay, I thought of another one.
All right.
And it's Stunjourner. And there's a
That's
reason
not
for
what
that.
was
There's
in
a
my
reason
brain.
for
I
that.
think there is one at 6 and 2. I just can't call it
So
everything.
the reason, and I got a nice math lesson. Stunjourner's power spot is multiplicative.
Oh.
With the Treasures of Ruins. So instead of when you are at -2, you are at a
Okay,
2
unlock
times-
Laren's
when
key.
you're at +2, you're at a 2 times of
We
what
got
you have, right?
36 rupees.
Instead, if you have a Treasures boost plus the power spot boost, it becomes 2.25 times.
I'm making a bit of
So
a
it's
face at
technically
that.
more.
Oh.
Yes, so I was kind of expecting to see power spots
I don't think
from
that's
Journey
great.
kind of pop off on some of the more obscure team builds. Some people that may have focused a little heavier on, and it's also, it's a rock typing. It handles Chi-Yu pretty well. I thought we'd see it.
Well, yeah, I think there is still one or two out there, but I also have to say, how dare you bring math into my party? That's not
true.
a good party thing. So we are going to take this moment, and we are going to toss it over to Joe and Jake for our final round of the day.
Ain't no party like a mathematics party.
No,
That's
I
how
love those
feel.
parties.
Exactly. I'm Joe Brown, joined by Jake Muller, and this is a very exciting moment if we take the time here to let everybody know at home. So, Jake and I, long illustrious friendship throughout our VGC history. This is actually the first time Jake and I are casting together at the regional level. We've done some things for grassroots at locals over the years, like 2017 and stuff, but all of our regional grassroots events that we worked, we actually did not do together. This is our first regional cast together. I'm very excited.
I am too. And besides our good news, I have some good news for Sierra because there is in fact one Stonejourner left at 6-2 in the field today. So we're all happy.
Yes, fingers crossed. So we'll see.
What is that ginormous Charizard pin?
Day 2 here in Fort Wayne. But for now, we have to get excited for this last match of the day. We can take a look at the Swiss rankings.
Oh, I
right
think
now.
they're
Two trainers
fucking
three, excuse me, are
Terra,
still
whatever.
undefeated. Thomas, Z, and Justin. And then we
Because like the other guy had a Snorlax one that was also huge, and I think it had the like Earth Terra thing on top of it.
Olivia, Jody, Alberto, and Fiona.
Justin making day 2 again here. I believe he did last week in Charlotte. So now he's 3 for 3 on making day 2 at regionals. That is insane record.
That's insane. 100% day 2 rate.
Alright, Cristelli, what's next? Kill 93 skeletons. Well, I wasn't going to do anymore, but there's literally skeletons right here.
Match in round 8, so we will see him tomorrow.
Probably should bring my dragon
to do
base.
your tasks. Nick Zephyrnik was on stream earlier. A lot of strong names going into day 2 tomorrow. So their rounds are not as stressful as it will be for some of these trainers here. Specifically, our stream match here in round 9 for the Fort Wayne Regional Championships is Marco Martinez versus Enrique Grimaldo. This is one of those classic scenarios of the winning in that we all love watching.
Yeah, the 6-2 match is probably the most stressful of the day. Maybe you're 5-2, 4-2 to get to that spot, but anytime you have exactly one match left to either make it on to the next stage of the tournament or be knocked out, I think is a big pressure situation. So it's going to be great to see how these trainers handle it.
Yeah, and then Thomas and Justin is actually a match for the first seed, right? Because they were both undefeated going into the last round there. So one of those two will be 9-0 going into round 10 tomorrow morning. But Alex Durand, Aaron Traylor should be fun. Like Paul Chua and Adi would have been awesome.
I know.
You know, we already had Paul on stream though, but a lot of great matches here in round 9.
Yeah, I believe those last two are also 6-2 matches, and then James and Alberto are both 7-1. So again, Flat Point playing for like a head start on day 2 with that extra win, but for those last 2 matches, one of these high pressure situations as well.
Yeah, but just, you know, looking forward to our round 9 match with Marco and Enrique. Enrique got second place in Players Cup 4 back a couple of seasons ago. I remember that was one of the ones that Gabby and I worked together for that one. That was my first Players Cup I got to be a part of, and it was really fun. The highest ranking North American trainer for Players Cup 4, and then I believe Enrique played in the Invitational after that. And then Marco Martinez is earlier this year in San Diego in that incredibly stacked regional got top 16.
Yeah, that's a really tough event, so a big accomplishment for Marco there. And I think both of these trainers have had recent success. You know, Players Cup just last year, or maybe 2 years ago. 21? I don't know. Recently.
Time is tough.
And then San Diego just a couple months ago, that first tournament of the Scarlet and Violet era for us in VGC. So it's going to be a great match. Again, I think these two teams are also really cool. They have some things that you don't usually expect to see, both like Pokemon-wise in the composition and from some of the choices they made on their Pokemon.
Yeah, I think that's what's really unique when you get to this point in the tournament and you see, sure, multiple people are running a certain Pokemon, but they're being ran in different ways, different itemization, different spreads and attacks like that. So we can look at their teams, and there's a little bit of fun from both of these trainers, starting with Marco Martinez, Fluttermane, Ting-Lu, Cerulege, Glamora, Amoonguss, and Gyarados. There's some nifty strategies there.
Yeah, Gyarados is kind of popping up, and I kind of like it. It has some really good supportive attacks. This one in particular has both Taunt and Thunder Wave.
and it provides a lot of utility with a ground immunity. We see Great Tusk and Garchomp are still very popular, and of course the Ting Lu is popping up. But it also has Whirlpool, which is really cool combined with something like a Glimmora that makes it easy to poison things. And so you can trap something with Whirlpool, possibly get that poison on it, make it take a bunch of residual damage every turn, and then just try and play a very slow game like that. So I think that's going to be really cool to watch.
And then on Enrique's side with Tatsugiri Dondozo, Volcarona, Glimmora of his own, Iron Hands, and the Wo-Chien. It's kind of, I can understand how he's gotten to this point. It's not a team that you're going to do a lot of damage with, it's your opponent is not going to do a lot of damage, and you will persevere through.
The entire MO of this team is just, you will not knock out my Pokemon no matter what. I'm not going to do a lot of damage to you very quickly, but you're going to do even less, and so I will just poison everything with the Toxic Debris and the Mortal Spin on Glimmora, and then very, very slowly win the War of Attrition. I think it's really cool though, the Wo-Chien is a very good Pokemon for that, as I'm sure we've kind of covered on stream already today, but the access to Pollen Puff, of course the Tablets of Ruin ability, and the access to Leech Seed as well, and make sure that a lot of things stay healthy, both the Wo-Chien itself and its friends.
Yeah, and I think on Marco's team, oftentimes if you build a Ceruledge team, it's kind of, or have a Ceruledge on your team, I should say, it's somewhat of a team leader, right? It's like a lot of your strategy and your game plans are built around it. I'm going to have Gyarados intimidate things. I'm going to have, Glimmora poison things to put it in range of Shadow Sneak or different strategies like that. So I look at this Ceruledge as a potential option and how it fares in Regulation C by adding those Dark types. Your Shadow Sneaks are not as strong, and in this matchup, it doesn't necessarily appear to be as strong as maybe some of his other options.
Yeah, this does look like kind of a rough matchup for Ceruledge. I think if you are running a Ceruledge, you're probably going to be number one is probably Dondozo, just because it does have that Unaware ability that can break through your bulk up boost if that is a set you're running, which we do see from Marco. And also, again, just resisting that Bitter Blade, it kind of shuts down any kind of setup you have with that Ceruledge. So I'd be kind of surprised if we did see that come through in this match.
Yeah, definitely.
Spooky, scary skeletons getting two-shot by a mace.
And it ends up sweeping the set. So let's see what happens between Enrique
The
Grimaldo
Dragon
and
Mace
Marco
will murder
Martinez.
them.
This is
and
round
will not leave a
9 here at the
trace.
Fort Wayne Regional Championship. The winner moves on to day 2 Swiss tomorrow, and the loser has to watch with us.
I love the title Glimmora.
Oh, I think a match has started.
It just looks like it would fit. I like the Glimmora elites here. Interestingly, Marco's Glimmora is not running Toxic Debris, it is Corrosion, which is notable here because if the Glimmora on Marco's side uses a Mortal Spin, Enrique's Glimmora will be poisoned, which is something that usually it is immune to thanks to the poison typing.
Yeah, that's one of those interactions we were talking about, how just because people are using the same Pokemon does not mean that they're being operated in the same way. So I'm sure Enrique and Marco are going to have to consider that interaction as this set unfolds. But for now,
what the heck?
There are no
Larenski.
either of the sides. Instead, we will have the
That is
from
very
Glimmora
rare for
here on the
killing
turn.
skeletons.
Get rid of that ground weakness.
That's actually
and
wild.
Terragrass on Enrique's side. Spiky Shield
Because they're
is good
super
for
low level.
If they want to go for a fake out,
Yeah,
into the Spiky
the
Shield,
odds
that
are
is what happens there.
at least 1 out of 1,000. It depends on the exact type of skeleton, but
so he will take a little bit of damage thanks to how Spiky Shield operates, and the Mortal Spin as well going into Spiky Shield. So it's still going to hit Ting Lu there, so you still will get some benefit out of it on this turn, but not as much as you would have before. Stopping Tantrum with Ting Lu into Glimmora, perfect terrestrialization as you now go from 4 times weak to resisting that ground attack.
Yeah, very smart there. Typically losing that
I just
poison
one-shot
type
that
Glimmora might
skeleton.
mean
You're
that you are
active.
susceptible to getting poisoned, but no, like we just said, you cannot get poisoned because of the corrosion ability on Marco's Glimmora. And on the same vein, there's no toxic debris on that Glimmora, so there's never going to be any toxic spike setup. You don't have to worry about preserving that poison types to switch out and back in and absorb those spikes. So just a really smart terrestrialization there, mostly because that Ting Lu went from probably knocking it out in 1 hit to doing pretty paltry damage with that Stomping Tantrum. I really like that Mortal Spin too, just because the Ting Lu is something that you really just have to whittle down. Like, there's not a great way to play against it with a bunch of burst damage all at once, because it just doesn't take any damage at all, so poison going to come in handy.
Yeah, still no switches again. This time around, Marco will say, hey, that's a great idea. Why don't I join you? And go for the Terra Grass on Glamora. This has obviously been, like, pretty much since day one of Scarlet and Violet, the #1 defensive terrestrialization for Glamora sets because of how much it synergizes with against ground attacks, I should say. But the poison attack going into the other side to poison down Enrique's Pokemon there, but that is yet another layer of toxic debris that is being set up on Marco's end that obviously will add up over time and do more damage. But the Earth Power goes into the resistance slot there. Drain Punch is a neutral attack, and that will do over half of Glamora's HP and help Iron Hands recover up some HP.
Yeah, it's smart targeting there. The Earth Power would have done a lot of damage, possibly even get it down all the way down to its Focus Sash, but the Drain Punch provides a bit more damage that the resisted Earth Power didn't make up. And again, you're just making sure that Focus Sash is knocked out. A bit of chip damage there on the, not even chip, that's a pretty good chunk of damage on the Iron Hands with that Stomping Tantrum, which I think is really good. Again, it's already poisoned. Kind of the name of this game at this point for both of these players is how well can I make use of this poison, especially because, like you said, Joe, there's 2 layers of Toxic Spike set up on Marco's end of the field, and since the Glamora terrestrialized, the only option to absorb those is the Amoonguss. So if Amoonguss is in the back from Marcus, or Marco, that is going to be very helpful to make sure those spikes don't badly poison something on the switch in.
Spiky Shield, looks like Marco locked that in again, and this is one of those strategies where it can be very difficult to break through. If you continually hit into the Spiky Shield, you're just damaging yourself. So is that what Enrique went for, or does he decide to target down the Tinglu instead? Mortal Spin, obviously not going to matter there with the Protect, since it has the spread attack there and not doing any damage to Tinglu. But Drain Punch is super effective into Tinglu, bringing it down really low there, and more importantly, getting recovery for the Iron Hands, because we saw Stomping Tantrum maybe did about 45 to 50% the last time. Now you can see that thanks to the Drain Punch recovery, it was not enough for the knockout.
I think the Drain Punch recovery and the Stomping Tantrum damage are almost exactly the same, which is funny to think about. But unfortunately, the poison means that it is still a net negative.
Look at this
on
very
the Iron
unique and
Hands.
interesting
Tinglu
matchup.
is low enough now that certainly another Drain Punch can knock it out, but I bet the Glamora.
There's
on,
only
Enrique's
1,000
side could
Pokemon
probably knock
town.
it
You
out
can't
to
expect
like
them to use more than
possibly
12
Earth
of
Power.
them.
Maybe not a Sludge Bomb, just because it is that resisted into the ground type. But the Glamora on Enrique's side seems to be attacking first. Pretty consistently.
Now, like half of them get ritually murdered every generation.
Earth Power came out before the Immortal Spin from the other side, but looks like it might be a speed type.
Yep, Marco just won that speed type, so that does confirm that they are the same
Well, I was going to do something other than a Slayer task, but if it keeps giving me like really easy slam dunk ones, I'm gonna capitalize on these points, dude. I'm gonna get freaking pointed.
Iron Hands went down on Enrique's side. Marco's Glamora has been targeted here. Now it's just left the Tinglu to click the payback into
like
Glamora.
that.
It's not enough, but it does bring it down really low for the Toxic to get it. And the payback is interesting as Glamora is able to get knocked out here. We were talking about it as we're getting set up for the Smash Jake. The payback is kind of a really cool idea because Tinglu is so slow. You are somewhat usually guaranteed to get that payback value.
Yeah, it's very slow, and you almost have to be attacking it very constantly for it to be whittled down with a lot of chip damage there. So it's a really good way to take advantage of that. It's cool that Tinglu is now.
Glad I get to use this Salve Amulet I got the other day too. It's kind of nice.
Something that, like before this, Stomping Tantrum had some play before, but certainly not payback.
Or like gonna die.
Pokemon doubling down at the same time is kind of funny though.
And it looks like, unless I'm reading it wrong, on the last two there, as we saw Fluttermane switch in, Tatsugiri and Dondozo are the last two for Enrique. That obviously makes a lot of sense. You want the front of Iron Hands and Glamora to whittle everything down. That's okay. I wanted to confirm that it's Gyarados as the fourth Pokemon, not Amoonguss to pick up the Toxic Spike. Obviously, Gyarados doesn't care, but Fluttermane gets poisoned.
I wonder if the Amoonguss was there if the spikes get absorbed before the Fluttermane gets poisoned. I don't know that interaction actually.
Yeah, we play doubles. I'm not really used to this, right?
Right. But the Tatsugiri jumping into the Dondozo's mouth, boosting its speed and attack, most notably, to get some offense going. But the Fluttermane, I believe, should still outspeed this Dondozo, and since the terrestrialization has already been used, I do believe this Fluttermane is carrying Thunderbolt, which actually could come in handy here, just because it's got that super effective damage into Dondozo. You have the option for something like a Taunt or a Thunder Wave in Gyarados to possibly prevent, like a Substitute or a Protect to get some more poison damage out onto the Fluttermane. However, I believe the speeds as they are, you would probably have to attack with Fluttermane and then Dondozo and then Gyarados, so it might be difficult to Thunder Wave through a possible substitute.
Yeah, and then, as you said, the Thunderbolt is there, and both of these trainers did go for Terra Grass on Glamora, which means the Dondozo is unable to change its typing here away from the water. So eventually, this Thunderbolt is going to do a lot of damage. You will start to rack up the poison, though, since this is heavily poisoned from the multiple layers of Toxic Spikes.
Yeah, that's what I fear for Marco here, is that maybe he doesn't have enough damage to win this game before the Flutter Mane can get stalled out by something like this, a substitute protect combination here. But look, going straight for the damage instead, it looks like.
Yeah, there is the Earthquake going to avoid Gyarados. Obviously, is the flying type, but Gyarados does connect on Thunderwave, making it slower. Sure, it doesn't do damage, but however, because of that potential for paralysis every turn and also lowering its speed, maybe you can have the double target into that slot instead. And then once you get rid of Dondozo, it's just Tatsugiri by itself.
I think that Earthquake makes a ton of sense too, considering that the Gyarados only has water type attacks. If you were to look at the Tatsugiri, it is going to double resist both Waterfall and Whirlpool, and it has access to Draco Meteor and notably Nasty Paw, which is not something we see too often on Tatsugiri. So if this Flutter Mane is knocked out by another tick of poison, which I believe either this falling one or the one after should do the job, it's going to be very, very hard to damage the Tatsugiri just because you don't really have that option with Gyarados anymore.
The Dondozo went for Protect to try to stall out those remaining hit points on Flutter Mane, who has been poisoned, and the leftovers is going to help Dondozo recover up more and more HP. So the Flutter Mane with the heavy poison is not taken out. What obviously the end of next turn will get it. Do you go for the double protect, or do you try to attack in case that double protect fails and you get like nothing out of it?
I don't know. I think it largely doesn't matter. Like that's a big double. Like, I don't know, that is massive because now you have the option to possibly knock out with a Thunderbolt and then maybe paralyze it. That might have been pretty close to a knockout there with that damage roll after the couple of leftover substitutes. But instead actually just going straight for the Waterfall. So I guess in that case it didn't matter a whole lot. Just because even if that Thunderbolt did knock out the Dondozo through the boost with that Choice Specs Thunderbolt, the Tatsugiri would have just taken a little bit of chip damage from that Waterfall. And I believe since it's not holding the Focus Sash, that little bit of damage doesn't really matter a whole lot. So now at this point you just have like 2 Pokemon left instead of 1, neither of which Gyarados like threatens at all. So I don't know, nice double there.
But think of the mental flex, Jake.
Sure.
I just double protected through paralysis.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right.
He's just trying to. He's testing the waters, testing how his luck's gonna go in this set.
That's where Dondozo likes to be, testing the waters there. Yeah, and as you mentioned, once this Dondozo eventually, if it ever did, which I'm not really sure it would,
right?
If it ever got knocked out, Dondozo quad resists the water attacks, and Enrique is going to lock up that game 1. Marco deciding to forfeit, saving everybody's time, which we appreciate.
Yeah, the Dondozo did have Order Up in its arsenal as well, so 2 or 3 of those probably knocked out Gyarados before Tatsugiri even had to hit the field. I think that's just a really smart play from Enrique. I think the Corrosion on Glamora on Marco's end was good until it wasn't, because you got to poison the Glamora, well, even it terrestrialized, so you got to poison it regardless, but you didn't you didn't make Enrique terrestrialize. I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Well, hold on, because I was gonna say it's not as good as Amoonguss getting rid of the time. When you start with Glamora on the field, you can't take the time to switch it out to switch back in to eat up the spikes, and not having Amoonguss in the back really costs Flutter Mane.
Yeah, and I just found it. By having Corrosion, you allowed the Glamora on the other end to terrestrialize, because you don't really have to worry about, well, I'm gonna get poisoned anyway if I just stay a poison type, which helped a lot. You know, you got that poison chip onto the Glamora, but later on, you were no longer able to poison that Dondozo because you didn't have the Toxic Spikes from the Toxic Debris. And so it helped early on, but let the Dondozo come in with the Toxic Spikes on Marco's end of the field. I think that's a very optimal situation if you're Enrique. That's a great way to play this early game, is just kind of get some stuff poisoned, try and get those Toxic Spikes down on the field, and then let Dondozo come in, because Dondozo is very good at not getting knocked out. It is very bulky, especially when you have that Commander boost from Tatsugiri. And so once that poison tick damage starts going, it's going to be really difficult to stop.
I know we might sound a little silly here, as we just said at the beginning of game 1 that Ceruledge might not be great. However, looking at the team sheets here, Glamora on the other end for Enrique does not have Power Gem. It only has Earth Power, which with your Terra or that might be able to hit you kind of well, but it's not as bad. And
Right.
the Cerulege is very nice into Iron Hands, who kind of just stuck on the field for multiple turns. So if Enrique doesn't want to play the switching game and wants to keep Tatsugiri Dondozo in the back safe the whole time, like the Cerulege might be a little stronger in that scenario.
Cerulege definitely looks great into everything that's not Dondozo or Tatsugiri. It's just so, it gets shut down so hard by Dondozo that it seems like it's going to be a really tough brain.
So there is Glamora and Iron Hands yet again for
There's
Enrique.
Amoonguss.
And there's Amoonguss this time around for Marco. It is not in the back though, so if you try to set up a couple of layers of Toxic Spikes on Marco's end, he's going to have to take a couple turns to get Amoonguss switched out and then bring it back in to eat those up.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I believe we saw the Gyarados in the back for Marco, so that means you can switch in on something that doesn't get poisoned by the spikes, because Gyarados is a flying type. Then possibly bring Amoonguss back in. I think Amoonguss wants to be switching in and out anyway, and so I don't think that's too much of a detriment there.
Spiky Shield from Marco on turn 1, yet again, just like we saw in game 1. But Enrique does not fall for it this time. Instead, the fake out goes into the Amoonguss. Earth Power is hitting into Marco's Spiky
It's a
Shield though.
super
so,
lightning
nothing
fast
really
Slayer
happening
task,
there.
god
Of course,
dang.
Amoonguss is flinching thanks to the fake out. I was actually
Kill 108 black demon.
out of Marco on turn 1 instead of the safe Spiky Shield again.
I kind of get it though, that Glamora is holding a Focus Sash, and that's a very important item on a lot of Pokemon that run it. A fake out knocking out that Focus Sash immediately would have been pretty detrimental. So it's a safe protect. You don't lose a whole lot there. The Earth Power going into the Spiky Shield as well is kind of a nice cover play for Enrique too, in case it doesn't protect. But Amoonguss probably wanted to put something to sleep there, unfortunately not able to because of the fake out.
Yeah, and then Mortal Spin, if you poison everything on Enrique's side, then you can't put it to sleep.
Yeah.
So, like, kind of what is Amoonguss's role at that point besides redirection?
And Pollen Puff.
Yes, for sure. Pollen Puff to keep everybody healthy, because we imagine how, or anticipate how this matchup can go. You'll start losing some hit points every turn because of the poison racking up. So if Amoonguss can actually get those Pollen Puffs off into its teammate to heal it up, that would be very beneficial. But Marco is going to terrestrialize his Glamora here in this match. Terra Grass, yet again, just like we saw in the previous matchup, and Enrique gonna respond in kind.
Yeah, 2 Terra Grass Glamoras again. I think that makes a lot of sense. The best way to damage Glamora if you're Enrique is that Earth Power, and you swap that Earth Power from a double weakness to a resistance, which is always nice. And again, if you think about doubling up with something like a Drain Punch like we saw in that first game, that's still a good chunk of damage in Glamora.
There is the Mortal Spin into both of Enrique's Pokemon, going to get the poison onto both of them. So slowly you will have their health being lowered every single turn. Toxic Debris, because of Glamora on Enrique's side, is going to set up those Toxic Spikes onto Marco. It's something he's going to have to be prepared for. But the Sludge Bomb, super effective into Glamora, brings him down to 2, and Drain Punch is able to secure the KO. Enrique with a great play, predicting the Terra Grass to go for Sludge Bomb.
That is so good. That Sludge Bomb would have done almost no damage had the Glamora not terrestrialized, but turning into a grass type, getting itself weak to that poison damage means that it is gone. There's no more Mortal Spin, there's no more poisoning, and the Spore coming in here, that's an interesting choice there. I don't know that anything would have...
You clicked the Mortal Spin anyway, so you knew that it was going to be poisoned first.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a Steel type that would have come in to be immune anyway. Yeah, I don't know. That's such a huge turn from Enrique there. That Sludge Bomb is a big call. And you can see in the back there the Fluttermane and Gyarados. If the Glamora opted to switch out instead, the Sludge Bomb is your best damage option into those 2 Pokemon, because you're not running Power Gem to hit the Gyarados super effectively. So a really, really nice play there. I think the Terra Grass Glamora was really big for Marco in that first game. It gave him a lot of
I don't think I'm going to skip the Black
flexibility
Demon
in that
task,
first
but
game, and so
I
calling
don't
that
feel like doing it
terrestrialization,
right now. It's going to take
not a
while.
bad play at all, because I think it was pretty safe.
I think we'll...
and now, as he looks as Fluttermane is on the field, Marco has to decide how can he get back in
we don't have him right
this game. What are the options, unless he just wants or doesn't want, but will hand over the 2-0 victory to Enrique. He's going to need to come up with a strategy to get back in, and it starts with the Rage Powder from Amoonguss that will redirect any attacks that maybe the Iron Hands wants to go for, going towards the Amoonguss, but obviously since Glamora is a grass type, it would not redirect. That is a critical hit though, that brought Glamora down very low, will be able to eat away at its Citrus Berry to help recover some of that HP, but the Mortal Spin does not care about the redirection since it hits both of the targets, and that will poison Fluttermane. So it's all up to Iron Hands. Wild Charge into the grass type obviously does like no damage.
Yeah, not too much damage there at all. Maybe trying to catch a Gyarados in the swap, but I like that Dazzling Gleam just because there's a lot of damage damage you can put out there. The Glimmora no longer resisting Dazzling Gleam, and the Iron Hand's obviously weak to it. It's hard for Dondozo to switch on special attacks as well. It would be a neutral Dazzling Gleam, but we saw how much those Thunderbolts were doing. Slightly less because it is not super effective, but you still have a lot of damage coming out there.
Looks like Marco kind of wavering back and forth there, deciding to lock in that Pollen Puff onto Fluttermane, so you know at the end of the turn, if Fluttermane is still around, he'll be able to recover its HP a little bit. Spiky Shield was used on Enrique's Glimmora there, so he's not going to take any damage. Dazzling Gleam, we saw it did a lot with the crit last time around, but this turn it's not going to do anything. It does knock out Iron Hand in this spot, so if Enrique does have Dondozo Tatsugiri in the back, he is going to have to decide which of those first two he wants to bring into that Iron Hand slot, and there is the Pollen Puff to bring Fluttermane back up to what would have been full health if it wasn't for the poison.
I just realized, I think because the Fluttermane came into the field after the Toxic Debris had been activated, but I think I was forgetting that Mortal Spin might clear those Toxic Spikes, just like Rapid Spin would. It's because the Fluttermane came in and didn't get poisoned right away, and not until the Mortal Spin happened already. So that means there's no more Toxic Spikes on that side of the field, which is notable because now the Fluttermane is no longer badly poisoned. I think it's just the single stage of poison, which I think is better if you are Marco, because you no longer have that huge timer. Like, poison is still ticking away, but it is not the poison that gets worse and worse over turns. It's going to be that consistent 1/8 damage.
All right, he has to call Enrique switch here. This is the very difficult decision every time you face Tatsugiri Dondozo. Do you target the correct slots as Tatsugiri switches in and will go into the Dondozo, boosting all of its stages, or by 2 stages, I should say, all of its stats by 2 stages. Importantly, its attack and its speed and everything like that is going to be really important so it can endure those hits from the other side. Amoonguss is the one that switches out in this scenario into Gyarados, like we saw in the back. It is a flying type, so even if there were Toxic Spikes there, it would not be affected by them. Its Intimidate will lower its attack by 1 stage, but you have Unaware and everything, so it's not really relevant in this scenario. Protect as he switched in, so the Dazzling Gleam doesn't matter since it's a spread attack anyway. That was the safer play to click, because Dazzling Gleam would have knocked out Glimmora anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart swap into Gyarados there. You got the immediate -1 attack onto the Dondozo, so it's only a +1 now instead of +2. It also allows you to swap that Amoonguss back in, which is one of the best swaps into Dondozo. You start threatening some sleep, although the Dondozo does have Substitute to get around Spore, which is going to be tough for Marco to deal with. But specifically, Gyarados is one of the best things that's equipped to kind of take on Dondozo head on. You have that Thunder Wave to make sure that it's not outspeeding much. I don't think that's going to be a big issue here because we saw Fluttermane outspeeding anyway in that first game. But you give yourself the option to intimidate it, which is always great. And you're not going to be taking too much damage in the meantime with that Gyarados.
Yeah, and then it looks like Marco kind of deciding, does he want to switch out to Fluttermane? The answer is yes, since it is choice lock. You want to be able to reset so you can click choice specs Thunderbolt when it comes back in. Amoonguss will be going into that slot there. Substitute is chosen though from Enrique. Kind of a free turn to click Substitute because you anticipated the Fluttermane to switch out, not breaking the sub whatsoever on this turn. He does get the taunt into that slot, but he still has the Substitute up for free.
Yeah, it's a heads-up play from Marco there, knowing that the sub was probably coming. If you did opt to go for Thunder Wave or even like Waterfall on that turn, there's no way that Waterfall would have broken that Substitute ever. Thunder Wave just gets blocked by the sub. So making the taunt there means that Dondozo can no longer protect for the next 3 turns and possibly get some poison stall damage from the Fluttermane if it comes back in, or leftovers recovery. But at the same time, this Dondozo's Substitute is probably staying for the next turn or 2 just because a Waterfall and a Pollen Puff I don't believe will be enough to break it. Now this Dondozo has the option to get some more damage out with Earthquake, possibly further boost its attack with Order Up because it is that curly form Tatsugiri, and it's going to be a little bit rough for Marco to try and break it.
There is the Earthquake from Dondozo as he sits behind his Substitute on Enrique's side. It's only going to affect the Amoonguss, but it is a neutral and a critical hit to boot, so it's going to do even more to Amoonguss. It does, however, bring Amoonguss right into range to activate its Citrus Berry, so kind of helpful crit, if you want to look at it that way. Whirlpool from Gyarados, like you mentioned, Jake, he only has water attacks on the Gyarados, so that's obviously going to be resisted into Dondozo. So even the combination of Whirlpool and Pollen Puff is not going to be enough to break the sub.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And because the substitute is up, I believe you're not going to take that residual damage from Whirlpool as well. So just a really tough spot here. I think Earthquake is like the smarter play just to guarantee you're getting damage out. Order Up is the stronger damage option into either of these slots. But if you start ordering up into a possible Flutter Mane switch into your Marco and you kind of want to make that aggressive read, I think that's kind of Marco's way back in here. So if you're Enrique, you just want to make sure you're getting that guaranteed damage. These Taunt will wear off in a couple turns. So I think the substitute probably breaks this turn. I imagine another Whirlpool and Pollen Puff is enough. So maybe you have the chance of Thunder Wave later on, but even then it's going to be really difficult.
Enrique going for the Order Up to get his attack stat back up from the Intimidate before, and it makes sense. If you don't think Flutter Mane's going to switch in, you have that free attack there. But the Waterfall, much stronger than Whirlpool, but still not enough. Let's see if the second Pollen Puff can take it out.
There it is.
There it is, okay. You at least know for the next turn, because there's one turn of Taunt left, that Enrique cannot click Substitute on this turn.
Yeah, so many more, which is great.
The one true chaos.
Is the Terra Grass Dondozo, but the Gamora already Terastallized, so there's no option to possibly dance around that. Waterfall and Whirlpool, there's actually a very good chance to get Whirlpool going too, because you can't substitute through it. So this turn, if you're Marco, I think a Whirlpool Spore is a really smart play, just to get that residual damage going, counteract those leftovers, and maybe give yourself a chance to break this Dondozo later on.
Yeah, I think he actually locked in the Thunder Wave there from Gyarados, so it's not 100% accurate, right? So there is the chance that Thunder Wave misses, but Amoonguss is going to protect. This is that last turn of the taunt being active, so and some type of attack like Earthquake is going to come in, so obviously that's now not going to hit anybody on the field. The real question for Marco is, does Thunder Wave land into the Dondozo? The answer is yes, so now he has been paralyzed, which is a more permanent status condition than the Spore, or than the Sleep.
Yeah, I respect that too, just because the Thunder Wave means that you're giving yourself chances for the Dondozo to get paralyzed, especially if this game is going to take a long time. There's a lot of turns that Dondozo might have that 1 in 4 chance to get paralyzed. Taunt does shake off now, and so the Pollen Puff on Amoonguss is going to be mostly relevant for the healing up with the Flutter Mane or the Gyarados, and helping to break this sub. I think the Pollen Puff is doing more to the substitute than any of the Gyarados' attacks. But at this point, the Dondozo is paralyzed already. You can try and taunt it again if you want to block some subs or protects, but this Whirlpool coming out here is going to start the residual damage.
Ooh, that does maybe single digit.
Yeah. Probably just like 2 or 3. If the substitute does come out here, though, I think that's really smart, just because you have this opportunity to sub in front of something that is not going to do much damage to you at all. This Pollen Puff, again, should not break this substitute, and that means that the Dondozo, while it is behind a substitute with those leftovers recovery, can be taking a little bit more damage now because the Gyarados was able to outspeed the paralyzed Dondozo.
Well, strap in, everybody, as we have this paralyzed Dondozo behind sub, and we saw before it's going to take 2 full turns from Gyarados and Amoonguss to break that sub.
I don't think it took Whirlpool damage there. Are water types like immune to that? Am I missing a bunch of mechanics in this round? Because it substituted, like we saw that the Whirlpool came before the substitute.
Before the sub, right.
And I would imagine the residual damage still goes past the sub, even if it's like set up. Are water types just not taking that damage?
Maybe
I'm just missing that.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then this is kind of doomed for Marco, I think, because without that residual damage counteracting the leftovers, it's going to be so tough to get damage onto this Dondozo at all. And as soon as Dondozo has the option to start firing off some Order Ups or Earthquakes at the same time, that's when the damage starts coming out. And it's like almost impossible to match that damage, especially considering once the Dondozo goes down, you still have to deal with this Tatsugiri with a Draco Meteor and Nasty Plot, so probably trained to be pretty strong as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, because of the leftovers recovery, for how long it takes you to break the substitute every time, it essentially is negating the HP it loses from clicking substitute because it's getting leftovers every time.
Yeah, so it's, again, these leftovers coming in huge here. I think a lot of the time we're seeing something like a Lumberry or a Chesterberry on Dondozo just to make sure you can get a rest off. But if you're running substitute, I think that leftovers is so good. That's a huge survive, actually. 2 HP on the Amoonguss left after that Earthquake means that you have the option to potentially switch it out for the Regenerator recovery and get that Flutter Mane on the field for some damage. But at the same time, I don't know if that's worth the risk. So I think if you take an Earthquake with the Flutter Mane on a switch, the game just immediately ends. And so it's still a tough spot here. Amoonguss has the option to possibly Pollen Puff something, maybe especially if Dondozo possibly gets paralyzed this turn. Really smart taunt, though, I think, coming out here.
Yeah, so now he is going to be taunted, can't go for substitute or protect or anything like that. And now this Powerpuff into that slot instead of switching it out for Regenerator, does hardly any damage. Pretty much evened out by the leftovers. And this would be the turn if you did want, I guess he's going to protect here, but if you wanted to reset for Regenerator, you might want to do it now. While he might click the order up into your fairy type on the switch.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think if you want a chance in this game, you would really have to swap into an order up with the Flutter Mane, just because that gives you that free turn where Dondozo's doing no damage, especially now that it can't substitute and kind of block those status moves and just block any amount of damage at all.
Because the worst thing, as he finally gets a paralysis there to stop Dondozo, the worst thing to happen is for you to bring in your Flutter Mane when taunt is over, and you switch it in on the turn and you click substitute, right? Because then you're wasting your Thunderbolt. There's the Whirlpool.
Okay, so maybe once you get behind a substitute, it just clears off the Whirlpool damage. I think that's what was happening. So I'm very confident, not very, I guess I'm
well, we did just see the water type take the Whirlpool damage.
So I think it's just because of a substitute, right? It's got to be that.
Yeah, so Waterfall, though, into Dondozo. Order up is going to hit through. Obviously, going to be almost doing half of Gyarados' HP there, and then with the attack raise, the next time around, you would assume it'd be enough to take that knockout. Dondozo's down to all of this effort just to get him to not even 50%.
Yeah, and the issue is too, even if you do knock out the Dondozo, it might still be healthy enough because of the leftovers that you had to do it with Thunderbolt. And at that point, you've probably lost one of your Pokemon if Flutter Mane comes in, just based on the way that Marco's playing this. It doesn't look like he's willing to switch it in and risk something like that. And if you're locked into Thunderbolt against a Grass Glimmora and a Tatsugiri, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to knock them out. It's possible for the Glimmora.
The
I think it was pretty
is
low health.
Though. It's, I think, maybe 30% health or something like that.
But Tatsugiri should be able to stomach one attack. And with a combination of poison damage and muddy water damage from the Tatsugiri, that might still be enough for the knockout.
Yeah, so Marco has not switched the Amoonguss out yet in this match. It is 3 Pokemon to 3 as this rages on. And Marco clicking Rage Power. That was not intentional, but I'm proud of that one regardless. Gonna redirect the Pokemon the one Pokemon that can attack here. Taunt, covering both bases. If he wants to go for substitute, you taunt it. If he goes for an attack, you bring it into the Amoonguss instead. And so now Amoonguss goes down after that order up. Marco down to his final 2 Pokemon in the Flutter Mane and Gyarados, but importantly, substitute is not up.
Yeah, substitute is not up, so if you bring in the Flutter Mane here, you get a free shot, whether it's with that Thunderbolt or something like a Moonblast. It's going to be tough here. This is a range where I think the Dondozo could possibly survive something like a Moonblast and a Waterfall. A Thunderbolt would certainly secure that knockout, especially because the Dondozo is taunted now, which is nice. You don't have the option to protect stall for some poison damage on Flutter Mane, but if you opt for Thunderbolt, I don't know that you have the damage to take out the Tatsugiri, which becomes a problem, especially because the Tatsugiri with the Draco Meteor probably knocks out Gyarados from here and certainly knocks out the Flutter Mane after a couple more poison damage turns. If you want to opt for Moonblast or even Dazzling Gleam, a Waterfall kind of covers that pretty well because I don't know that it could make up the damage for a knockout, but it also gives you the combination flinch and paralysis chance. So at that point, you kind of have to play to your odds.
Flinch and paralysis, something you are very attuned with in VGC. Jake, let's see if that happens. This spread attack, Dondozo brought down into the red. Waterfall, it's resisted, is it nowhere near enough? He's gonna need a paralysis. No, Dondozo breaks through paralysis and is going to hit this Flutter Mane for its very low defense, and that is no chance of surviving. Now it's just the Gyarados left here, and I respect the Dazzling Gleam because you're thinking a couple turns ahead.
I think you almost have to Dazzling Gleam there. Like the Moonblast probably picks up the knockout just based on how that damage would have gone. It's slightly stronger than that Dazzling Gleam. But if you do luck into Moonblast, that means you can't knock out both the Glimmora and the Tatsugiri at the same time, which is big because the Tatsugiri, again, is not holding that Focus Sash item. It is the Wide Lens to make sure that the Draco Meteors and Muddy Waters are connecting. And so I think the Dazzling Gleam is a good, probably the correct play there. Just unfortunately not breaking through.
But look how low Glimmora is. It's already in the red. We misremembered it having more HP. So if you had Moonblast, Tatsugiri's not Choice Scarf. Flutter Mane is faster than Tatsugiri. No Focus Sash either.
It is, but I think one Muddy Water might do the trick. And if you spend a turn Moonblasting the Glimmora, I don't know if that's a winning line. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it was a tough position, and that's why Enrique Grimaldo put him in that tough spot to win this set 2-0 and to move on to day 2 of Swiss here at the Fort Wayne Regional Championships. Great job by Enrique, one of our best players from our Players Cup days in North America, and hoping to be one of the best trainers here in Fort Wayne this weekend.
I think it was just really methodically done by Enrique that entire time. I think getting those toxic spikes down, getting stuff poisoned, getting that chip damage on, getting that residual damage going, and then bringing the Dondozo in. I think the key role for that Dondozo on this team isn't necessarily doing a bunch of damage, maybe scoring one-hit knockouts and that kind of thing. It's just kind of sitting on the field, waiting for things to get knocked out by poison, or waiting for things to eventually get whittled down by some earthquakes and order ups. I think a lot of times when we think of Dondozo teams, you think, oh, I'm going to set up my Dondozo, I'm going to do a huge damage with Wave Crash and knock everything out in 1 or 2 hits. But I think on this team like this, it's much more of a slow-playing Dondozo, which is aided by both the substitute and a protect.
Yeah, and I think there were a couple of turns, at least from Marco's perspective, because of how difficult it was with Dondozo setup. You kind of have to go for broke sometimes, right? You can't
really do.
you can't just sit there and watch the light run out as your chances, like just sitting there and hope, all right, maybe Powerpuff gets a crit, maybe Waterfall gets a crit. Like it's like you have to risk the order up switching at a certain point to try to regain the momentum in the match.
Yeah, I think I agree there. The order up switching for the Flutter main would have been huge. I think if you do make that happen, you're able to get a big Thunderbolt off in the Dondozo. That gives you the option to swap the Flutter main back out, which I think is important there. Locking into Thunderbolt, like we kind of mentioned, wouldn't have been a winning line just because you wouldn't have had the damage for the Tatsugiri later on. But if you do get the Thunderbolt off and you were able to switch out because you came in on the order up and not a knockout, then you have kind of another line to play out there.
Yeah, and even the turn that he Rage Powdered instead of switching was an order up, right? So that, who knows, maybe he targeted Gyarados down, but we're not sure. Obviously, we didn't have his perspective there, Enrique's perspective, I should say. So, but that just shows the razor thin line between in a Dondozo scenario, and it's only compounded when you have these poisons racking up from Glamoras. Like, I think people understood at first the synergy there, but as the format has developed, they've kind of become in as much unison as Dondozo Tatsugiri are. It's Glamora Dondozo.
Yeah, it's kind of become the third member of that trio. It's no longer Dondozo Tatsugiri, it's Dondozo Glamora Tatsugiri, which I think is cool. I think it's a really smart way to play Dondozo too.
Yeah, it covers your bases, like we said. If you can whittle things down, like we said with Ceruledge, if you can, Glamora can poison things down and maybe get rid of 10% of the HP. Maybe the Bitter Blade that is 85% damage before, maybe that actually gets the KO this time around. So it's a similar strategy, especially with the Dondozo, where he had order up and earthquake. It's not like he had Wave Crash for massive damage. It was just the kind of slow and steady with the race type of team build.
You do wonder if possibly saving the terrestrialization for something like the Flutter main could have made a difference too. Because in the end, the Dazzling Gleam was the thing that just barely missed that KO. But if you do opt for the Fairy type terrestrialization,
and the turn that cost him was Terra Grass into Sludge Bomb. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a good point. There's so many different ways that can play out though.
And he can't. It's tough because there is obviously a high stress situation, and there is no correct play, right? Because if his opponent makes a different read on the turn, then his Terra Grass might have looked great.
Just powers anyway.
It's just more of giving Enrique credit than necessarily like Marco not making the right play. It was just more pro Enrique in that decision.
I think Enrique was just a little bit more proactive that entire game. Marco was a little bit more reacting to what was in front of him and not trying to think of ways that you can get ahead instead of trying to find ways just to not fall behind in a game. Whereas Enrique was very actively trying to make these decisions that would advance his game state. The Sludge Bomb into the Terra Grass, I think, is a big one. You cover that with the Drain Punch as well, so it's not like that's a huge risky play.
Right, because if he stays and it's still a neutral Drain Punch.
Exactly. So I think it's just a very active play for Enrique there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves with Enrique, but like I'm just thinking like, where would you weigh regional championship compared to, or let's say regional top 8, let's say top 4, compared to getting second at one of the 4 Players Cups we had. Those were gigantic international events. Like, if you, from your perspective, what would you rate? What would you gauge as a higher, personal accomplishment?
I think it would be, accomplishment level aside, I think it'd be a lot more fun to get like top 8 at a regional than to get second at a Players Cup, because there's something about like the in-person atmosphere that's just unmatched, and being around all these people that are all here for the same reason and celebrating you and your wins when you're getting into that top 8. I think that's a much more fulfilling. There's
Yes,
the word.
there you
Fulfilling
go.
experience is being at a tournament as opposed to playing the Players' Cup.
See, and for me, I would take second to the Players' Cup. That's why we're so great together,
I
Jake,
know.
because we bounce off each other. We have great dialogue. We disagree. You know, we're a
Exactly.
perfect pair. We're like No Garden Fissure. That's how we work. All
Which
right.
one am I?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. Okay. Well, actually. Okay, I'm not going to tell you. Anyway, we are ready for the interview with our Round 9 winner, Enrique Grimaldo. So, Sierra, take it away.
Thank you so much, you two. Our final winner of the day, Enrique Grimaldo. First off, congratulations. That's the winning in. You're in day 2 now. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. Tired. You know, it's been a long day. I had to run the gauntlet pretty much of started 0-2, and pretty much every match was either do or die. So I pulled it out, and
That is the most stressful, that 0-2. I'm always at awe at the run that you make after that. So what happened at the beginning of the day to have that setback where you're now put in this position where you have to win out?
So round 1, I faced a really good player, Avicii, just excellent player, and I just wasn't really in the zone. Just ended up misplaying, and like absolutely just like he adjusted really well, and then he won, so it was good enough. And so hats off to him. And then my second round opponent, I don't know, like I guess that misplaying from the first round carried over, and also this is a new format. And I'm not really comfortable with the team, and like I'm not really comfortable just with the series in general.
Airy.
So, yeah.
You are Saradomin Wizard.
Not seeing correct lines.
What?
Seeing,
Airy. You're a wizard, Airy.
I was like, yeah, I'm winning in, and even
A Saradomin Wizard.
I guess,
Now go worship Saradomain.
This is my one chance to like be like, hey, it's not, you know, I don't know this format. Like I just finished at Charlotte, and that was also long, and like from one regulation to the next, having to adjust on the fly, and then not having enough practice, and like having to work and everything. I was just like, yeah, we're just bringing this, and this is how it's gonna go, and yeah, that's pretty much how the day went. And then
Airy, I'm going to the watchtower, Airy.
Started getting to it, and here we are.
Get the losses over and done with early,
Yeah.
you know, instead of the win it in moment.
Yeah.
But
You do that.
talk a
Be right
little
back.
bit more about
Okay.
your team, because
I
you're
will.
saying it's something that you weren't necessarily comfortable with. Now that you've gotten to the point of being at the end of the day, how are you feeling about it now? Especially too, since I'm quite intrigued with the Ruinous Pokemon choice, because the Wo-Chan has not been one that we've gotten to see as much on broadcast.
Oh yeah, as I was telling people in the back, or my friends out there and stuff, I'm not bringing Wo-Chan again. I pretty much played the turn. It won me one round, like very decisively, but the rest of the rounds, like I'm sorry, buddy, but like I literally had to play a tournament with like 5 Mons. It was just, I'm more of a defensive player, more of switch orientated, or I mean, it kind of depends. I like making reads. I like seeing what is there, and in general, I'm not very keen on the Pokemon lowering my defensive stats as well. Like, even though it does my opponents, like lowering mine also doesn't really appeal to me, and so I wasn't really comfortable with Chipao, with Chi-Yu. I looked at Ting-Lu, and I wasn't about to risk everything on Fissures. And so I was like, I guess it's Wo-Chang, and I was like, it's pretty much Celesteela at home. And then, yeah, it's just...
It's worse than Celesteela at home.
It's like Celesteela at like the mall or something. I don't know. Like it's just
Parking lot Celesteela.
Yeah, it's just like it's not. Everyone came pretty prepped for it, and so pretty much. And I don't really know how to use it that well, and so like every match I was like, yep, we're just gonna go with what we got, and yeah, it's like, Wo-Chan, you can watch. Yeah.
You get to watch the rest of the
you
team.
get to watch.
So then you're down a Pokemon. You essentially have this 5 Pokemon team. Which then Pokemon was this MVP, or the one that carried through or was coming in clutch? So you're actually happy that you got on the squad.
Actually, my MVP, surprisingly enough, even though I didn't bring it, was Volcarona. It's just, it does very well into all the Ruinous Mons. And shout out to Zane Thatcher. He helped me look over like my team and stuff, and we decided to trade out Rage Powder for Tailwind, and that came in clutch so many times. So many times, in fact, that sometimes I forgot I had Tailwind up, and I would like outspeed Pokemon. I was like, what's going on?
Like, wait a second.
Yeah, I was like, what's this? And so, yeah, like he's been like very good with helping me team build. So like this like third.
When games come to a close, the story within just ends. Sometimes a sequel picks up where the story left off. Sometimes that same character starts another adventure, but leaves the previous world behind. And that's kind of what happened with Super Mario Sunshine. This game was a big deal for me as a kid. It was a seaside summer escape from the middle of, cornfields. And when Super Mario Odyssey was released, I was excited to see that Isle Delfino made it onto the globe in the promotional material, only to have it erased before the game released. The imprint on the island is still there on the 3D model, but the texture to the island is gone. But I digress. I say all of this because I'm a sucker for nostalgia, and when someone breathes life back into a world that I miss, I'm all about it. In today's video, we're taking a look at a fan continuation of Super Mario Sunshine that takes us to unexplored areas on Isle Delfino and to the world beyond. The adventure that took place after the one we finished almost 21 years ago. This is Super Mario Eclipse, and I hope you enjoy. Before starting, you'll notice the footage in this video is in both 4:3, 30 frames per second, and 16:9, 60 frames per second. This continuation allows for both modes, whether you want that classic Sunshine look, or if you want to overhaul the game and bump up the specs. And of course, this awesome creation would not have been possible without the amazing team shown on screen here. What you're about to see is all due to their hard work, so a major thanks to them. Let's dive in. So our grand adventure begins on Sirena Beach, but this time we're not checking into the haunted hotel, we're actually leaving it. So we find Peach with her luggage right outside the door, and we're getting ready to board the Daisy Cruiser. Peach and Toadsworth's plane is unfortunately out of fuel, so they're going to be jumping on the cruise ship. And right off the bat, I think what I love most about this so far is the authenticity of what the dialogue feels like when it comes to talking to the NPCs and stuff. I don't know, they just captured that charm very well. Like for example, these Nokis complaining that they can't see the sunset because of this giant cruise ship. It just fits in so well with the characters of Sunshine. Now this Daisy Cruiser is the same cruise ship that appears in Mario Kart Double Dash, and the map itself, once we board it, is that same map. And I think this is kind of neat because the idea of a cruise ship being the foundation and the hub world for this evolution of Super Mario Sunshine, it's very fitting. We just spent all this time on a tropical island, and cruise ship vacations go hand in hand with that. As we board this massive cruise ship, it is our goal to get 10 Shine Sprites from within. And this cruise ship is very large. It takes a long time to explore on foot because normally we'd be racing around this in Mario Kart. But there's a lot hidden inside this cruise ship. It's kind of funny because some of the dialogue reflects perfectly with the aesthetic of this cruise ship and how like tables slide back and forth. So we have an NPC talking right here about how they glued the tables down because they're sliding all over the place. But like I was saying, as we move around this cruise ship, there are several secrets that we can find and worlds to explore. So of course, there are Shine Sprites hidden around this cruise ship with various puzzles that you must solve, like taking this durian from the pool all the way to like the front of the ship. But the first world that I found was right by the pool. You see this glowing, reclining, like poolside chair that if you stand on top of it, it warps you into a dream. So your character falls asleep and you wake up in this, what is called a nightmare, but looks like this dreamscape. This level looks really cool, and there's balloons scattered all around it, and you must use the rocket to pop.
Regal Pomp. Do I have the song Regal Pomp? I do not. How do I get the song Regal Pomp? A Kingdom Divided. That's a yikes. I have to finish Regal Pomp. Oh my god. How do I even do this?
Nice oogers.
Thanks. guess I just hold on to this clue scroll until I can do a Kingdom Divided. But that's pretty cringe. Black Demon. Do Black Demons drop? You have to tell me if you drop hard clue scrolls. Crap, they do drop clue scrolls. Oh snap, my food's here? We're almost here? Be right back. I'm back. I'm back. If anything weird, freaking divided. Besides, obviously, getting everybody to 100%, which is cringe. Guess while I eat, why Fletch? What's my fletching level? 53. Need my knife. Metal Gear. Need my knife.
Metal knife.
Remember that when the crab took my knife? Crab battle.
Crab battle.
That's the best Flash video. Snake could not beat the crab. It's funny because you'd expect Snake to be able to very easily beat a crab, but he couldn't.
It's a very powerful crab.
He couldn't beat the crab, so it's amusing because you expect that he could beat the crab, but he couldn't. He couldn't beat the crab. You'd also expect that the crab wouldn't take his knife. But he did.
I was the crab.
Crab battle.
These balloons within 7 minutes. But I understand why it's called a nightmare, because this challenge is actually quite difficult. And it was something that I did not clear initially. The other world that we can find on this cruise ship is a casino-based world. So down in the inner workings of the ship, there is like a storage area, and inside a giant wooden crate is the entrance to a casino-based level. It's a gambling paradise, and it feels like the lost world of Luigi's Casino from Super Mario 64 DS. And you will also notice that upon loading this level, you can choose your character. Yes, there are multiple characters in this continuation, and we can choose between Mario, Luigi, or Il Piantissimo. So of course I went with Luigi, and I started exploring this massive world, and I realized after getting some stars in a very difficult way that perhaps maybe I should have chose a different character. You see, certain shine sprites are actually designed around specific characters. And so in some ways, this mod is kind of like Donkey Kong 64, where you need to swap characters in order to accomplish specific puzzles. However, some puzzles can be done with the other characters, although it's going to be quite difficult, like these giant poker chips, or attempting to climb far into the sky. And it wasn't until I read a sign that specifically said that I should be playing as a character that has a tree for a head that I realized that Il Piantissimo is an absolute legend. So I fired him up, and I was climbing this giant Jenga block structure, and his double jump is so awesome. You can make insane ground while playing as this character. You can jump super high, and you have the ability to double jump at any point. And the double jump itself actually lets you jump in any direction, which is kind of broken, but also really cool. Now there are two other secrets that I was able to find on the Daisy Cruiser, one being a broken pipe that you can enter inside and then warp up top to a shine sprite, and the other is if you try to go inside of Peach's plane. Now, like all secret areas in Super Mario Sunshine, they are, of course, very unconventional and difficult, and this plane area is just that. You're basically jumping from plane to plane before they fall out of the sky, and then you have to jump over to trains from Super Mario Galaxy, these toy trains that then take you to other planes, and you must repeat this as you're climbing ever so high into the sky. And this area is very, very difficult. So much so that if you make it to the final area where you get the shine sprite, you have to jump at the perfect time, otherwise you are going to die and have to do everything all over again. Secret areas in Super Mario Sunshine will always haunt me. So with all that said, once you get 10 Shine Sprites, something interesting happens. You had to get 10 Shine Sprites in order to power the cruise ship. But once the cruise ship is powered up, things get very interesting. Because I had no idea this was the case, because once the cruise ship is powered up, then we see the actual overworld for this game. And as you can see, there's a tiny model of the cruise ship that takes us back to the Daisy Cruiser.
To eat some
and all around
hummus.
us are new islands to explore. And at this point, like, not knowing
The
any of
vegan,
this,
the Ultiform's playing game. What the
but
actual
it
frick?
makes sense because earlier on
That
in the
happens.
dialogue, we learned that the next destination
The vegan
is
coroner
a
has told me to
frozen
eat the
island,
hummus.
a cold place. And so we head over to
I'm
the
so
Zundra
sorry.
Island, and we leave the ship onto a desolate
Too
icy
late for
landscape.
me.
And this map also is quite big. So there is a Shine Sprite all the way at the top of the mountain. And I'm pretty sure you're supposed to use Mario or Luigi to get this, but I'm going strong with Piantissimo. So I use him to see if I can get up there. And because of Piantissimo's movement capabilities, we can actually jump around this mountain very carefully, as long as we are accurate with where we're landing. Now I'm gonna stop here for a second because you can see that there are these whirlwind, like tornado things, and these are something new that the player is supposed to jump into with Mario or Luigi. It allows them to travel horizontal distances a little bit faster, but also gain some height. But with Piantissimo's jumping ability, we can also make it up this mountain, and then we can brute force the final stretch by jumping repeatedly against its edge, and then we finally make it to the summit. Up top, we're like the king of the world, and all around us is this frozen landscape. And of course, there's various other puzzles scattered around this island, and even a cave that takes you to another secret area. However, this world is not the only one available to us right now. There's also another one that looks like a early VR landscape. It's like something out of Tron. And this world is quite interesting because all the textures on the world itself actually move slightly. And so what you're left with is this world that feels like it's made of energy. It's like a cyber world. So once you get 20 Shine Sprites, another treat awaits you. And it's a Super Mario Galaxy 2 level. I have to say, it's honestly both very strange, but also incredibly awesome to play Starshine